Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there is no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grump, how are you today, my friend?
Um, okay. How about you?
Grumpy, not too bad. Here's the thing. First game at UBS Arena didn't end the way us Islander fans would have liked it to end. Grump and I did a live stream beforehand, actually cover the game and the action as it happened, as per requested, and we had a good time. There were a lot of takeaways from tonight's action. A lot of takeaways from the last few days that have been happening in Islanders country. But before we jump too hot and heavy into today's podcast, I do want to remind you that the Islanders Never Say Die podcast is a twice-a-week podcast on Wednesday and on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That being said, if the Islanders play a game like they did today on Saturday or like they're going to do next Wednesday, we go live right after the game so we can comment right after what happened. But Grump, it was, and to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action, I almost forgot, but it's pertinent. It's important. It's pertinent. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter. You can also check out our podcast we do when we talk sports and shoot the shit called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's a great time. We have a blast. We do that every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find that in the link in the description below. Again, make sure you follow, like on Facebook, and follow on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. That being said, Grump, we got all that out of the way. Let me ask you, what were your big takeaways from tonight? Right? The Islanders missed a few members due to COVID. We were missing Ross Johnston, who's been a healthy scratch for the majority of the season. We're still missing Josh Bailey. We're missing now Anders Lee, Anthony Beauvillier, Adam Pelech, and Andy Green, all on the COVID-19 protocol list. So those are 5 players that are usually consistent players in our lineup. I won't say performers because some of them don't really perform, but they're consistent players and skaters in our lineup, Grump. What do you think about the performance?
I was impressed with the energy that the newer players and the younger players brought. It seems like more energy than we've had for most of the year. I thought they grew into the game. I thought we started shaky, but really picked it up starting in the second period and totally dominated the third. And I just love the jump from guys like Noah Dobson. Robin Salo played a lot of minutes today. You saw Kiefer Bellows work a real subtle play that led to Brock Nelson's second goal on a beautiful pass from Oliver Wahlstrom. I thought Nelson played well in spurts. I thought Richard Panik looked really good tonight. I just thought I thought Aho played really well tonight. I thought the young guys played extremely well and got better as the game went on, which is what I expected, honestly.
Yeah, I think certain players really came to play today. There were a few mistakes made, but we're going to get to the overarching theme of what we noticed. I thought Robin Salo, he came in, you could definitely tell he's got upside. He's got the ability to be a guy who's going to be playing top 4 minutes for the Islanders for years to come. That's for certain. Where he'll get in trouble is thinking he could thread a pass to where, maybe a player is able to intercept that, where in the A, they weren't able to. But yeah, I'll tell you, I thought he looked good. I thought Salo, again, as I mentioned, looked good. I thought Aho had moments as well. And to think that we put the performance out that we did at a first period, we had mentioned it during our live stream during the game, that there's a lot of young players out there, a lot of players getting their first time of ice, first minutes of ice at the NHL level of a brand new opening of a brand new arena of UBS Arena. It did not shock me at all that they were kind of antsy a little bit, need to settle into the game. That being said, I thought as it got settled and as we saw in the third period, that is why there was such a big push, right? Younger players take a while to get kind of settled in. They could be inconsistent at times, but I believe they feed off of the energy of the fans more than a veteran would. I'm not saying vets don't feed off the energy of the fans. I'm just saying a younger player, I believe, is much more emotionally invested and much more emotionally dictates what's going on around them. And I thought we saw that in the third period today.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that Robin Salo, who wasn't even up with the big team before today, had the most minutes of any defenseman today, over 21, almost 22 minutes of ice time today, 21:42. I thought that was really interesting. I thought he got better as the game went on. I thought Noah Dobson had the shackles taken off a little bit, and he was really involved with the offense. Grant Hutton, he got the least amount of ice time among the defensemen, like 13:43.
Okay.
I thought he was okay today. I didn't think he was great. Chara looked bad today. I thought he looked bad today. But of all the players on the Islanders, I thought the fourth line was again terrible today. And Matt Martin in particular was terrible.
Now, I posed a question during our live stream of the game and following of the game, and I'm going to pose it again here on the podcast. I'm going to pose it early, though. We had a few takeaways. Is there anybody out there that is in the camp once we have, people return back from COVID, once Andy Green is deemed healthy, once Adam Pelech is deemed healthy, and even let's take the clock forward a month or so when Ryan Pulock is deemed healthy? Is there anybody, any fan, any listener to this podcast, any fan out there who thinks that Zdeno Chara should be playing over either option, Robin Salo or Sebastian Aho? There is not, I don't think there's a single fan. You could pull 100,000 Islander fans. I don't even think one of those fans are going to say, yeah, put Big Z out there over Robin Salo or put Big Z out there over Sebastian Aho.
Even when even when Pelech comes back, and I'll just use him as the example because he'll be the first guy to come back. It means you don't need as many left-handed defensemen. Why shouldn't Robin Salo split time with Chara and Green, some type of rotation system, maybe Aho in a rotation system, so that the younger guys get to play on a consistent basis at the NHL level? Why? Because this way, come playoff time, if we make playoffs, these guys will be ready to go. Remember, there's nothing but upside from Sebastian Aho and Robin Salo. There is no upside from Andy Green and Zdeno Chara. They are what they are, probably going to get a little bit worse. At best, they're going to stay where they are, where the younger guys have a chance to get better. And if they get better, it makes the team better. And if the team gets better, we have a greater opportunity to win.
Absolutely. And yeah, thank you, Tony Cheese there. We appreciate it. And again, thanks there for the love. Yeah, we always produce content. We just want to produce what we feel the community and us Islander fans want and love. I think that when we went live during the game, we were not your average everyday, hey, we're passing the puck along the boards, and that was a great job by Casey. It's not who we are, never what we will be. So I appreciate that, Tony Cheese. Yeah, but Grump, I tell you, we had mentioned this is either going to be a blessing in disguise for the Islanders, or it's going to be awful for the Islanders with Ryan Pulock being out. And now we've seen with all these additional members with COVID, it has forced Barry Trotz to play some of the younger players. And here's the thing. This is what we noticed, guys. I didn't notice a significant drop-off from the younger players on the ice. Sure, a few of them made some mistakes out there where I was just kind of like, oops, you don't want to do that. That seems like a young man's mistake. That seems like a rookie's mistake. But if you look at the items that may have, quote unquote, cost us the game, that hideous play by Matt Martin in the first period on the first goal against, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He's holding the puck too long, gets his pocket picked. He's trying to do a spinorama like he thinks he's Mario Lemieux out there. And they pick it off and they go ahead and they bring it and walk it right in for a goal.
I want to say if he's trying to do a spinorama, that's Denny Savard is who he wants to look like. Mario did some spinoramas too, but it was a Denny Savard thing. And that really set the tone, though. That turnover set the tone for the first period, really did. And I don't know if Sorokin makes that save there, but I'm going to say he would have. He certainly would have made the save on the goal, the third goal in the second period. Then maybe it's a totally different game overall.
I'd even mention the third goal. That's right, Grump. I wanted to mention first this Matt Martin fiasco. And here's the thing. Like, I'll let you watch this in slow-mo. He's trying to do a spinorama and just loses the puck. He holds it too long, and it leads to a complete odd man break. I mean, here's the thing. I don't fault Sorokin for this goal against at all because, I mean, it's point blank. And
well, you can't blame Sorokin. He wasn't even on the ice.
I'm sorry, Varlamov, Grump. I'm sorry.
But, I mean, look at Matt Martin. He passed it back. There were two guys behind him. and he makes that little move. Why not move the puck up? You have a 5-on-3. 5-on-3 right here. Whoop.
He holds it too long, and then he's trying with the spinorama, which just blows me away. Blows me away. I'm sorry, Matt Martin. For a guy that's supposed to be a veteran, I can't have turnovers in our own zone that foolish. And I think to myself, right, the fourth line did not have a good game against Tampa at all. They were exposed. They got there for 3 of the 5 goals against. And you see this Matt Martin display right here. And Matt Martin, I don't think looked great tonight.
That was against Florida that they had the minus 3 goals against.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But they weren't good against Tampa either. I just like the energy that the younger guys brought. I think it's a continuation of the Islander veterans. Never really, and I'm not saying they don't play hard, but they don't play with the urgency that they need a lot of times because there's never any risk of them losing ice time. Maybe this lights a fire under them. Maybe while they're out, we see more jump from the team and more competitiveness than we've seen in the last week or so. Maybe this wakes them up. Or maybe Barry Trotz, comes out the other side and says, you know what? These guys are playing better. They're going to play. I don't care that Anders Lee makes $7 million a year. I don't care that Josh Bailey makes $5 million a year. These guys are going to play because they've earned it. I don't care that Cal Clutterbuck makes $3 million. I don't care that Matt Martin makes $1.5 million. We have guys who are making less, who are performing better. They're going. They deserve to play.
And I'll tell you, I thought Kiefer Bellows looked good tonight. I thought, again, Brock Nelson had quite a few chances. He whiffed on a few, but also pocketed 2 huge ones and 2 huge opportunities. Zach Parise, right, playing on the first line, had so many freaking opportunities. And I'm talking about so many opportunities for Zach Parise. He just couldn't find the back of the net. He's a guy who puts a lot of effort in there. Everything is there for Zach Parise, except he just couldn't put the puck in the back of the net. And that's been his story the entire season, right? When I see this trend reoccurring where it's like, hey, I'm seeing a lot of effort out there. I'm seeing a lot of things I like, but you can't put the puck in the net. Maybe you're snake bitten. I could go snake bit maybe for a 5 or a 10 game period. Maybe about 14, 15 games. You still just can't manage to score a goal. I'm starting to think that, maybe you're not so snake bit. Maybe that's just an issue you're going to have. You're never going to be able to score like you were used to be able to.
What did you say his range he was going to score when the season started?
Between 15 to 20 goals.
What did I say? Maybe 10?
Maybe 10. Maybe 10.
Maybe 10. Thank you.
It's looking like that's on track. Jake Too Much Pessimistic saying season over. Seriously, looked more fun tonight, and they had their chances, but just couldn't finish. I'll tell you, I think the reason they didn't finish is because when guys like your Zach Parise had their chances, they were not able to put the puck on net, weren't able to pound it in. But I thought that again, Brock Nelson did an excellent job, and Bellows did on that power play goal, Grumpy, when Brock Nelson scored. I wanted you to break that down because I thought you did a good job during the live stream.
Yeah, I don't think it was a power play goal. Okay. But they had a line of Nelson with Wahlstrom and Bellows. Are you going to put it up so we can look at it and I can talk about it?
I'll have to try to pull it up. Give me a second. You talk about it.
But basically, Bellows brought the puck into the zone, gave it to Nelson, who threw it around the back of the boards to Wahlstrom. Then Bellows makes a real subtle move by cutting right in front of the net and drawing 2 defenders with him right in proximity of the goal. So what does that do? As he's skating out towards the slot from behind that, well, I don't think he was behind that, but he came out and he drew 2 defenders. Those 2 defenders went to him, which left Brock Nelson wide over. Wahlstrom feeds him the pass, one-timer goal. I mean, that was a real nice, subtle play by Kiefer Bellows. Do you want to know who would never do something like that? Number 12. Josh Bailey. Watch us just real settle. Okay, I think he goes behind the net.
Don't worry, I've got it. We got it.
Okay.
We'll watch here.
And we can just describe. Okay, he went in front of the net.
Starts in the front of the net.
You got the one guy chasing him, and then you get another defenseman also chasing him as they both go out, which opens it up for Nelson, who slams on the brakes and comes in front. Really nice play and a nice pass by Oliver Wahlstrom for the goal. I mean, and that right from then on, the Islanders carried the play the third period. That goal invigorated them. And I wanted to see that line together for the rest of the game, but Barry couldn't help himself down the stretch, and he had to ride the veterans. And they don't score, of course, and we wound up losing.
Yeah. That being said, again, it was a fantastic finish by Brock Nelson. I thought Oliver Wahlstrom looked really like a man possessed out there. He was doing a lot of items where he was taking on 2 or 3 guys by himself. I thought certain players looked really, really good tonight. I think again the third goal is one that Varlamov, even though it was redirected by Magapani. How do you pronounce his name?
Mangiapane.
Mangiapane, even though it was redirected by him. I think that's a goal that Varlamov probably wants back.
And I thought,
wow, Drew L. He's saying Barry Trotz praised the young guys. I just watched the interview. Wow.
Okay, I did not. I wanted to see what he had to say about that. I did see a little bit of the beginning, and first he praises Bailey and Lee of all people.
What?
Who weren't even playing because they got here through the tough times. I don't want to hear that. Guess what? They are being replaced by better, younger options. They make the money. They don't deserve to be getting the ice time. That tells me as soon as they're healthy, they're playing again. Young guys, go back to wherever you came from. It doesn't matter how well you play. There's a pecking order here.
I think, Jake, you bring up a great point to mistaking. We talked about this on the live stream as well, that Richard Panik looked like a man possessed out there. I thought he played a really, really good game tonight. And I think that, guess what? If you're Matt Martin, Panik's coming for your spot, buddy. If I don't see better play from you, you're not going to have a position here anymore, because I liked what he brought. I liked the physicality he brought. And I saw the engine that I need to see out of a fourth line guy in you. I don't see that in you anymore, Matt Martin. I don't see that. I see the careless turnovers. I see the mismanagement of play, and I just don't see the same energy that we've always seen. Maybe you need to start getting some games off here and there. Maybe you need to see what it looks like up there in the press box.
I don't think that Barry Trotz sees it that way, though. And that's going to be your biggest issue. He's just blind. He has blind loyalty to those veterans, just blind loyalty.
And now, again, I think Chara looked hideous tonight. I mean, Chara looked awful. And again, here at Shooters Puck Hockey, I don't think that's wrong. I don't think we're going through. I mean, like right now, sure, you can classify this as adversity, right? We're missing 5 usual everyday guys, and Ryan Pulak goes out with an injury too. But the result we saw out there on the ice was better hockey, I'd argue, than what we saw against the Florida Panthers, against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know that the Calgary Flames are no Florida Panthers or Tampa Bay Lightning, but I was not upset with the product I saw, right? It took them a while to get settled in. Once they were settled in, I was actually excited watching the game. I thought, hey, we look like a legitimate threat of scoring every single time we've got the puck in the offensive zone, where in reality, a lot of times we watch the Islanders, that's not how you feel.
They had energy today, which I don't think really we've seen all year. Maybe a little bit, one game or two. But other than that, those guys brought energy. I didn't hear the crowd reaction, so I can't say. But I thought they brought energy, without a doubt. I was really impressed with the younger players today. I like what they brought. There's too many passengers on this team, too much a sense of entitlement with all the veterans. This is what happens when you see young guys actually getting a legitimate shot, because they're going to play tomorrow, because a lot of these other guys are going to be out. They're seeing an opportunity. Maybe I can take advantage of this opportunity to earn ice time with the big team, because that's not the case. COVID did something that Barry Trotz would never do, and that's make sure that the young players are in the lineup. Because if he had any option not to play them, that's what he would do. And then you see how we played this year, which has been really miserable for probably 11 of the 13 games before tonight. Just terrible. That's why you should always have open competition for spots, not just where these names are marked in granite, even though they're just ham and egg or jag type players. There's nothing special about them. I don't care that they've been here forever. If you're not performing, you sit. If somebody in the minors is playing better than you, they should play. I don't care that you make $7 million a year. You want to know who's really great at doing something like that? Billy Martin would always have a young guy, and he'd sit a veteran. Every single year, it seemed like it. Didn't matter how much money George Steinbrenner paid for those players. Billy Martin was going to play the younger guy. I mean, he always believed in best players play. That's why his teams were so good. And he always rewarded everyone for performing.
I think tangibly. Oh, by the way, Michael B., thank you for this. I appreciate it. And here's the thing, right? With Robin Salo, There's no question about it. He's going to make mistakes. All defensemen make mistakes, and young defensemen make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes, I think, in the variety of thinking he can overdo something or make, a crisper pass where it might get picked off by, a forward. Chara just makes the mistakes of, hey, I can't skate anymore, so I misjudge somebody coming down the edge, and he's able to cut right in. Or, a guy is able to skate right around me, so I take a bad hooking penalty. Or I end up turning the puck over, getting knocked on my ass. How many times did you see Zdeno Chara on his ass today? How many times?
That was a lot of guys. A lot of the players were on their butts tonight. Not Calgary, though. It's like, what the heck's going on? First, maybe I thought it was the ice, but I didn't see any Calgary guys going down. Maybe our guys just can't skate.
No, I saw the same exact thing. I saw a lot of our Islanders, whether it was skating forwards, backwards, didn't matter, getting bumped, not bumped, sometimes just extending on a stride. I'm like, why the hell are they slipping and looking like they're falling? I didn't see any Calgary player having the same issue. I don't know if they just have somebody new sharpening the skates. They have some apprentice. Some guy went out sick. I have no idea, but it didn't look like the ice because Calgary wasn't having the same issue we were.
No, and it was the whole game, actually.
Man, oh man, I tell you, man, I don't see what Barry Trotz sees in Zdeno Chara. I don't know if he's just trying to be like, hey, Zdeno, we appreciate you being here, but in reality, we don't want you to play once, we have a healthy court back because Robin Salo is going to get time. He's going to earn the spot away. Big Z is, I'm sorry. No.
His slavish devotion to the aging veterans on this team is mystifying to me, honestly. That fact that he could say that Zdeno Chara looked good today, I'm surprised he wasn't struck by a bolt of lightning, honestly. When you're saying shit like that, come on, give me a break. What were you watching? I don't know if he said anything but Noah Dobson. This was the best game Noah Dobson's ever played for the Islanders. The shackles were taken off today. He was engaged offensively, particularly in the second and third period. He was driving the net. He was creating chances. That's the ability we saw from him in the juniors. And I'm going to tell you again, you know what? I hate being right all the time. Grumpsterdamus strikes again. I said it earlier this week and last week. I said, this system, I wonder if it's just the system that is holding Noah Dobson back. Because you see him, he's playing out there scared normally. Oh, I'm rushing. I got to get right back to the point. Take the leash off of this kid. Let him play. He creates chances. He's just that good. Let the kid play. If you have to alter your system a little bit, Barry, do it or go home. Go wherever it is you live and stay there. We can get someone else who can make the team look exciting and still win games.
I will tell you, I think I agree with you. No Dobson had his best game tonight. He looked more comfortable tonight. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. He looked very comfortable. You saw him integrating a more of an offensive pressure, more offensive forecheck, and you saw him look a lot more comfortable. Even on the penalty kill, he seemed more comfortable when he was out there on the ice. And I'm not sure. Here's the thing, ladies and gents. You might call me crazy for this thought process. When players know that they don't have a younger player specifically, knows that, hey, I've got a little bit of a chance here. It's not like I'm sitting and every mistake I make, I'm out of the game. But if somebody else makes the same or similar mistakes, they're fine. I'm a young guy. I've got a shorter leash. I mean, coach even comes out and says it in the media every freaking end of every game. Any type of veteran makes a mistake, that the younger guys have a shorter leash than the vets. You feel like, hey, I'm kind of walking on a tightrope a little bit here. I've got to be careful. I've got to be nuanced and meticulous with every single bit I make, every single type of movement I make. And today, it just looked like he was out there saying, all right, I'm just going to play. I thought he looked super comfortable, and that was the best game we've seen out of Noah Dobson. That is the type of Noah Dobson we need to see every night.
And he was engaged physically along the boards. We've never seen that from him. Never. He was out there playing like his life depended on it today on the penalty kill. And he never gets penalty kill minutes ever. He did a nice job on a second chance that he walled his guy off right on the side of Varlamov, where normally, here's the thing, Pelech hasn't been doing that this year. Pulak hasn't been doing that this year, but this kid did today. He got the opportunity, he took it, and he ran with it. Let's see what Barry does.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm afraid. As soon as everybody gets healthy, Barry falls back into his old pattern of just playing the veterans and screw the young guys. I mean, I really believe that's why he was jettisoned from Washington after winning a Stanley Cup. They just couldn't take that shit anymore.
And they always say, "Oh no, it was about the money. It was about this." Well, here's the thing.
They didn't want him back. They did not want him back.
That's my point,
They
right?
did not want him back.
We paid for Barry Trotz, but here's the thing: if you're producing a winner on the ice, ideally, you're going to sell more tickets. And if Barry Trotz is the answer, end all be all, you're going to be playing late into the playoffs. That's additional games, additional revenue, additional eyes, additional merchandise. I don't buy that bullshit. Oh, he wanted too much money for the coach. Yeah, bullshit. You're up against a salary cap ceiling in the NHL for your roster. And now you're telling me for the coach, which is supposed to be one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, you're not willing to shell out for that? I never buy that shit. Whoever says that is just lazy.
He won a Stanley Cup, and they didn't even make a contract offer to him. Bye-bye. They didn't want him back. The players didn't want him back. The ownership didn't want him back.
And don't look at this as us trying to shred Barry Trotz right now. What we're trying to say is because what we saw tonight is Robin Salo can play. Sebastian Aho can also play. What I worry about
Noah Dobson can play.
Okay. I didn't even think I needed to address that Noah Dobson can play.
No, you had to because you listen to certain people. Noah Dobson's been inconsistent this year. That's on Barry Trotz. After watching today's game where he got a legitimate chance to play, that's on Barry Trotz. From now on, I don't want to hear Noah Dobson can't play. It's Barry Trotz is not giving him the opportunity to be the player he can be. That's what it is. And if he's not your type of guy, move him. If you don't want a guy who's creative and create chances and can be physical in front of the net and can be an offensive force, then move him and get some other eighth line, number 8 defenseman on some other team who'll just stand back there. Oh, you already got a couple of those in Green and Chara. How's that working out for you, Barry Trotz? Because the more when I watch the young guys perform, it just proves everything I've said for the last 3 years. This clown won't play the young players. Now I know why Washington fans despised him, why they couldn't wait for him to leave Nashville. Because he just won't play younger guys. This is a young man's game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a young man's game. You look at every team in the Metro Division. What have they done? They've gotten younger. They got puck-moving defensemen. This guy's living in the 1950s the way that he's coaching right now, and we're seeing the results. Sixth worst in the league. We're tied with Montreal and Chicago with 12 freaking points. How's that going? We've beaten 5 teams. 2 of them were winning records. The other 3 are just worse than us. Think about that. Great job, Barry. Freaking loser. Play the young guys. Why couldn't he get COVID? And let's have Lane Lambert coach over there with a whole different system. See how that works out.
Stop. I like to let you go crazy every once in a while, Grumpy. That brings a smile to my face. I haven't seen one of those in a while, Grump. That being said,
because he wouldn't play the young guys. Now, when I see the young guys play and I see they can play, Josh Hosang scores a game winner in overtime today.
Stop. We'll get to it. Stop. Don't blow your fucking load. Don't blow your fucking load all over the place, huh? Jesus. I want to get back to the point. And this is,
I'm drinking out of a fire hose tonight.
We're not coming at Barry. That being said, and this is a big if we see when, again, guys are healthy, if we see that Zdeno Chara stays in the lineup as a starter every night, and Andy Green stays in the lineup as a starter every night, you will see criticism on this. I can freaking guarantee you will see criticism on this podcast every single night. Maybe some of the other Islanders media cartel members won't go ahead and criticize him, but after what we saw out of tonight of Robin Salo, what we've seen out of Sebastian Aho, what we see out of Noah Dobson tonight, there is no freaking way in hell that Zdeno Chara with a healthy defensive core should ever play another game here in the Islanders uniform. No freaking way. And if he does, you are going to hear us criticize the person who's putting him on the ice, because if not, that would just be disingenuous to you guys, disingenuous to the listeners of this show. We're not going to lie to you. It blows me away where people will go ahead and lie to you, lie to the listeners, lie to the readers of articles and say, oh no, well, this is the reason why this works out. I'm just going to go ahead and look at the situation and try to go ahead and piece together a possible solution, dribs and drabs from here and there to try to make it. No, I'm sorry. We saw how hideous Zdeno Chara was tonight and how hideous he's been every single freaking night. And Robin Salo came in and looked like a real player. He looked like he could really contribute on the power play. Sebastian Aho came in and looked like a real player tonight. No, we cannot see any more of Zdeno Chara going forward with a healthy defensive core. We cannot afford to do that.
And, you mentioned Salo and Aho, right? Aho's so bad in the first game against Tampa. He's the reason we lost. No, he's not the reason you lost. It's the fact that the rest of the veterans are just useless, absolutely freaking useless at this point in time. You got Matt Barzell and the rest of those skanky ass dogs that make up the rest of our lineup. Okay? That's what it is. Your average Anders Lee, your piece of shit Josh Bailey, the fourth line, which is an absolute disaster. Okay? Young guys get a chance. We see energy. We see drive. We see determination. We don't see that from the other clowns, those circle clowns. We don't see that anymore. Their time is past, well past. And here's the thing. Robin Salo got better as the game went on. Aho has gotten better over the 3 games he's played. You want to know why? Because you're actually giving the young, you're forced to give them a chance. And the more they play, the better they get. And they're so much better than the pieces of garbage that you roll out there every single night, Barry Trotz. Wake up.
Maybe it's bad if we watch the game live, because if this is how we're going to be, maybe we're going to like the more bombastic nature. Different minds. I appreciate it. You just want to say thanks there for the live stream of the game and doing the podcast. Love much guys there. And Joel also saying that. We appreciate it, guys, for certain. And then Isles44 said, Pajot, Parise, and the entire fourth line have been terrible this whole year. I want to talk about Pajot. Pajot looks like he is still hurt, or he just will never be the same. Pajot has not looked like the Pajot we saw 2 years ago in the playoffs, like we saw last year in the regular season in the playoffs. He has not looked like the same individual we've seen and got to know and love and adore as Islander fans, because we, again, we'll always say maybe we overpaid a little bit much for a third line, center, but we love him. He is what embodies everything of the New York Islanders. He's a guy who's hard. He's gritty. He plays every situation. He's fantastic on the puck. He was a creator, and we just haven't seen any of the same Pajot we've seen in years past so far this year.
Okay. Here's what you see on this podcast. Anytime that we're on there, we're not like the media, like the Islanders media cartel, those bootlicking weasels. They know who they are. Pajot is one of my favorites, but I call him out when he's not performing. He has not performed this year. I wonder if he's injured. Maybe it's an age thing. Who knows? His style of play for a smaller player doesn't mean that you're going to have a long time career playing like that. But going back to the media, you're starting to see them now kind of trumpet a little bit what I've been saying and what the TJ and the grumpy old man have been saying for the last couple of years, that this team, the veterans aren't really that great. They get an awful lot of pub for never winning anything. And now you're starting to see it seep through in their writings and their talkings, right? Oh, well, this guy hasn't done his job. This guy hasn't done his. They haven't been doing their job for a long time. I'm sure they must listen to this podcast and they just parrot the points because they don't have original thoughts on their own. They only speak whatever Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello feed them.
But here's the thing. A lot of times, people get by because, hey, the team's winning. The team looks like this. It's easy to overlook certain issues. It is. I know the coach doesn't. Coach never overlooks those type of issues. I could tell you, when you're a coach like that, you're meticulous over every detail. I promise you, Barry Trotz is meticulous over every detail. Anthony R., you bring up a good point here. I think Cal Clutterbuck can still do it. I think Matt Martin has shown these last few nights he needs to be on some sort of schedule where he only plays certain games, because what we saw at Aponic tonight was fantastic. That's what I need to see out of a fourth liner. I need to see a guy who's playing out there, who's got his engine going 110% every single minute out there on the ice. And I need to see a guy out there who's playing with his hair on fire. I see that probably once every 6 nights out of Matt Martin. And here's the thing. This is the first game of Ponick, but still, in the same token, I love what I saw tonight. He's a guy who's got the veteran experience. He's a guy who also has playoff experience. He's a guy who's got experience. I want to see him on a fourth line role when our forwards return back healthy. I think Ponick needs to challenge Matt Martin for a spot. And here's the thing. Don't forget about Ross Johnston. Ross Johnston's a guy I feel like could do a better job than Matt Martin at this time period. Matt Martin looked hideous tonight.
Casey Cizikas has been terrible all year as well.
Oh, come on now.
Casey Cizikas has been terrible all year. He's the leader of that line. They've been brutal, including him. Just another of the long list of overextending guys in their 30s to long-term deals. Let another failure by Lou Lamoriello. Yes, a colossal blunder, signing him to a 6-year freaking deal. I'm sorry. If he was $10 a year, 6 years is too many years for him.
Matthew C., I agree. Bellows, what we saw tonight. Here's the funny thing. Bellows looked poor. What did we say earlier on? You talk about how true and consistent we are. When Kiefer Bellows played his first game of the year, and we were big fans, trumpeting Kiefer Bellows how he needed a chance. He played one game earlier on this season on the road trip, and we came out and said, Kiefer looked like shit. Kiefer looked awful. We wanted Kiefer Bellows to be good. We didn't see it tonight. We're not afraid to admit when something we may have been wrong on is what we see. We said it. And then the next game, he was out there, right? Because the first one, Anders Lee got sick. Whatever he did was non-COVID at the time period. Kiefer Bellows got a chance, didn't play great. Then the next night, then Casey Cizikas got sick. Kiefer Bellows played 5 minutes. And I said, well, he can't really do much with 5 minutes of ice time. What we've seen Kiefer Bellows do in this short time period, I thought he's looked much better on the ice. I'm not saying he's an all-star. I'm not saying, oh, this is your next fantastic left wing power forward or anything like that. I'm just saying he has looked good. I think he showed that he can play and compete at this level. When players are back healthy, he'll go back to riding the pine, but I think he's looked good over this time period. He's a guy I feel comfortable. If you allow him to play his style, he'll perform.
This podcast speaks truth to power. We're not looking to get jobs with the New York Islanders. We're speaking to fans. That's what we're looking to do. We look and see. Here's the thing. Today, TJ was getting on me because I wasn't looking at him enough during the show. Guess what?
No. You were doing that where it's like I was talking to a kid watching Coco Melon or watching some type of TV show where you're just like,
yeah, because here's the thing. Because for me to talk about the game, I have to watch it. I'm not somebody who's going to, let's see. Let me just go to some website and copy down Corsi numbers and then try to formulate some opinion based on that. I actually watch the game and I formulate my opinion by what my eyes show me. I don't need to see any type of numbers, this, that, and the other thing. I can tell who's performing just by looking because I've been doing it for a long time. A lot of these other people can't do it. They're not capable of it. They're not skilled enough, honestly. But that's what we do on this show, okay? Yes, we've ripped Kiefer Bellows. Why? He was a favorite of ours. We want to see him play. If he doesn't play well, we say it. If he plays 5.5 minutes a night, we're going to say, how much do you expect from him? Today, he played extremely well. Is he the greatest skater in the world? No. But guess who's even worse? Average Anders Lee. This kid will go to the net. He's not afraid to do that. He actually moves in front of the net, doesn't just stand there like a piece of lumber. Recovered wood or whatever Anders Lee is.
Oh, good gracious, man! Oh, man. Here's the thing. I think there was a lot of positives to take though from tonight, right? I know you're here, Grumpy, getting on a hate fest. Grumpy lets to get his hate out, right? What are we on, a 5 or 6 game losing streak, or 4-game losing streak? I don't even know. 5-game losing streak. And here's the thing: we're playing Toronto, who just lost 2-0 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is an important game against Toronto, ladies and gentlemen. This is an important game. I think we need to build off the momentum we had in tonight's third period. We've got to build off of that. I think you're going to see a lot of those players, a lot of those younger players feel a bit more comfortable out there earlier on. I'll be interested to see how we play. Remember, Toronto is a high-powered, run and gun style of team. It's a team that historically, against the older team, against our team, when we play, a lot of those aged veterans really struggle against those teams that could skate and against those teams that have a heavy forecheck. We struggle against the Devils. We struggle against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We struggle against the Florida Panthers. We struggle against every single team that could skate and put the puck in the back of the net, right? We've got Toronto on Sunday, which is tomorrow, and we've got the Rangers on Wednesday. I will be interested to see how the younger, more mobile players are able to play against these highly vaunted offensive teams. I'll be very interested to see how they play. They might come out and shit the bed, but I don't think that's the case.
I'm going to say one thing about Toronto. They've altered their game a little bit this year. They're buying more into the team defense concept, which you need, but they have talent on their team. That's why they're winning games. I'm going to guarantee they're not getting shut out tomorrow. That's not going to happen 2 days in a row. I don't think we match up with Toronto as well, particularly since they've kind of, as a team, bought into what Sheldon Keefe is teaching right now. I was surprised that Pittsburgh beat them, honestly. But, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I just want to see how I love the fact that our young guys played well. Why I'm frustrated is I don't think Barry Trotz is ever going to give him a legitimate chance. As soon as the veterans are back healthy, he's just going to roll back out with them. And that's going to bother me big time.
It's going to bother me every single game and here's the thing. I've seen it and I'll say it one more time. Every single game, and I think the fans, should want the same thing we want. We want a Stanley Cup. That's what we want. And is anybody out there, is any fan that has watched the first 14 games of the season, can any fan say, yeah, Zdeno Chara looks like he struggled a little bit, but I still believe in Zdeno Chara. I believe he's going to be able to right the ship. I believe he's going to be able to skate quicker. I believe he's going to be able to move his feet better. I believe his mobility is going to increase. I believe he is going to perform better than he has so far for the first 14 games. If there is a fan who believes that wholeheartedly, I'd love to speak with him. I would. I don't know how anybody could think that Zdeno Chara is going to continue to improve or get better with this system. Robin Salo already is a better defenseman than Zdeno Chara at this point in time in his career. Sebastian Aho is already a better defenseman at this point in time than Zdeno Chara in his career. How many more games can I watch Zdeno Chara on his freaking ass? 4 or 5 times tonight? No, it wasn't the freaking ice. He's on his ass every damn game. Guys that are a fraction of his size, grumpy old man, are knocking him off the puck, which is not something you've ever seen from Big Z. Big Z was always, even when he was unable to skate, he was still able to position his body well to control the puck and prevent himself from turning it over in our own zone. How many times tonight did we see him being dispossessed because he was weak on his skates and just couldn't manage to hold ground? I was shocked when I saw that. And if you were even held a bastion of hope that Zdeno Chara could do it, when you saw him get knocked off the puck by guys that were under 6 foot tall tonight, that should have been the wake-up call for you to go, never mind. Maybe I'm not right.
All you had to do was listen to this podcast in the offseason. I told you what you were going to get. No one wanted to believe it. I'm sorry. Boston learned it 2 years ago. Washington learned it last year. We're learning it now. Zdeno Chara's finished. Nothing wrong with that. He's 44 years old. Every career comes to an end. The fact that Lou Lamoriello thought that was our best option to fill in for Nick Leddy, that's a failure on his part. You always hear what he says, right? Oh, I'm going to take time. We're going to wait. Here's the thing. You didn't replace Nick Leddy. You didn't replace Jordan Eberle. And you went with the same cast and crew that failed the last 3 years. Well, do I say failed? Yes, I do. Because the goal is to win a Stanley Cup. We failed. Okay? So you want to bring that same group back of older players. You see everybody else around the league getting younger, getting faster, getting more offensively creative. You're seeing puck movers back on the back end. That seems like an anachronism to us. We don't want to do that. Well, you're seeing the results now.
I think number one, Dimitri P. I think you bring up a good point. I would love to see, and here's the thing. I think Trotz would die if he would know that Salo, Dobson, and Aho were all in the lineup at the same time, and we had healthy guys back when Green and Char are healthy. But when healthy, right? There's one thing that we must do. Pelech and Pulock have to play together again. That tandem works so well together. When you split them up, it did not help the defense the way Barry Trotz originally had anticipated it would. So when Pulock is healthy in about 4 to 6 weeks, he needs to be paired with Pelech. Salo needs to be in the lineup. Dobson needs to be in the lineup. And here's the thing. Regarding that last position, I could see them running a rotation of Green and Char. Realistically, that's what I think they're going to do.
Chara can't play with anyone.
I know he can't, but that's
okay. I don't want to see him rotated in because it makes Noah Dobson a worse player when he's out there with them. Anyone who plays with Zdeno Chara at this stage of his career is going to look worse. Pulock looked miserable too because they have to cover for Zdeno Chara all the time.
I like it, Drew. I like the comment. Lou L, I think, or Lou R, I think this is a good point here. He says, when guys get new contracts is when the players start falling off. Happens all the time in sports. They get too comfortable.
And here's the thing. They're all in their 30s. Players don't age like wine. They age like vinegar. They get worse the older they get, with the exception of the guy who plays for the Buccaneers. He's the only guy who continues to play at a high level into his mid-40s. No one else does. And hockey players, the peak of their career is 27 through 30, maybe 30. After that, wow. I mean, it's like, a roller coaster, a great adventure. What a steep drop. That's just the way it is.
Joe, let me ask you what this says. Playing the young guys is not enough. Being sellers at the deadline. Use the season to get all young players good reps and also to accumulate picks at the deadline.
100% agree. I
I think
100% agree with that. I'm willing to throw in the season. Here's the thing. If we lose the next couple of games, I don't think we can catch up. I honestly don't think we can catch up. So if we're down, 12 again, I said 12 points out of a playoff spot. It could be worse than that. You need to move what you can, this junk that is your roster. Give Anders Lee away. Pick up some salary. Get him off your books. I don't care if you get a second-round draft pick for him. Put him somewhere where he could potentially be on a winning team. Get him off your team. Build up cap space. Build up prospects. The team needs to be revamped. We're too old to be getting better. We're not going to be getting better. We're just going to be getting worse. And Barry Trotz, you mark my words, is going to go right back to what he's always known, which is play the old guys. Young guys need not apply. It's just so frustrating. I hope that today's game and tomorrow's game, if we play the young guys again and they play well, lights a fire under these veterans' asses, honestly. Maybe it'll wake them up because they've been sleepwalking through the season.
Isles44 says everybody needs to stop focusing on Barry saying good things about Chara. Barry doesn't criticize vets ever. He knows he's stuck with him for the time being.
No, he's not. He could bench him. He could sit his ass on the bench. He doesn't have to play him 20 minutes a night. That's on him.
Joe H saying, stop with the Chara bashing. Take Chara out. Who do you put in? Well, when we take Chara out, when the team's healthy, you put in Robin Salo. You put in Sebastian Aho. You take Chara out and you say goodbye. No need to still have you out there on the ice. What we saw from Salo, what we saw from Aho, I think they're more than competent to fill in for Chara.
I agree. 100% agree with that.
JK saying, Jake, 2 minutes pessimistic saying the charts and graphs guys liked our play, i.e. the analytics liked our play tonight. Corsi was 52.8, high danger chances from 70.6%, and expected goals of 61%. What do those numbers mean? I don't know. I don't either.
Who cares? I mean nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. I know we dominated in the third period, and if we had better players, we would have scored more goals. Markstrom played well tonight, but I mean, Zach Parise had how many point-blank chances and hits the goalie in the crest? How many? I mean, it's because he's not as good anymore. It's not a crime. 5 years ago, he probably scores 2 goals tonight, but he's 37. So guess what? He's not as good anymore. So he's not producing like that. How many goals he got on the season? That's right. Freaking 0. He makes Josh Bailey look like freaking Wayne Gretzky with 1 goal.
Damn, he's going in hard, Grumpy, talking about you. And Tony G saying, I wish Grumpy would just be honest and tell us how he really feels.
I don't sugarcoat it. I give it to you straight all the time.
No, absolutely not. Mario said, Grump, I've been saying it. The same thing about One Trick Barry since he's taken over.
Well, that's the way he's been his whole career. Washington didn't. You win a Stanley Cup, we don't want you back. Bye-bye. What does it tell you? They'd rather take a step back than have him as their coach.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Dave. For certain, Chara should have never been signed. He could take his eyebrows with him. Barry's eyebrows. SB said Grump is always so calm and collected. I think he should criticize Trotz once in a while. The constant unending love of Trotz and Bailey gets annoying, Grump.
Thank you.
Here's the thing. I don't think Trotz is overrated at all. Trotz is a fantastic coach. I do believe when people start calling him a god, he's a hockey god. I'm like, all right, let's taper let's taper it a little bit. Here's the thing. He does certain things that drive us nuts. But other than that, he's a fantastic coach. Personnel decisions are always one of the things since the moment he walked in that drove me nuts and still drive me freaking bananas. Because we saw tonight, that should have been eye-opening, Islander fans. Holy shit, Robin Salo can play. I know we've been seeing in Bridgeport for the Bridgeport Islanders. He's done a fantastic job. He's been leading the power play. He's been leading all defensemen and scoring on the Islanders. He's sixth out of all defensemen in the entire AHL, his first season there in scoring. He's been fantastic. That should have been like, oh, maybe he could do it a little bit. But what we saw tonight should, boom, it should be blindingly saying, hey, Robin Salo can play, and he needs to be in the lineup every single night.
Noah Dobson can play too. Noah Dobson can play too at a high freaking level. Barry's a better coach than I am. But here's the thing. I'd present more opportunity to other players than he would. That's for certain. I'd say Anders Lee, Josh Bailey, guess what? These guys are better than you. Prove me different. Sit on the bench, sit in the press box for a while, and let me see if you step up your play a little bit. Josh Bailey, what have you scored? Twice in 190 games on the power play? You're not playing on the power play anymore. I wouldn't play you on a Mike team power play.
I like too much pessimistic saying nickname for Zdeno the Wheel Chara. Oh, I love it. And then David S.
Human turnstile.
Pajot. We've been corrected by Tony Cheese. It's not turnstile. It doesn't work like that. David S. say, yeah, I agree. Pajot has lost his edge. And here's the thing. Pajot might be able to get it back. I'm worried, though. I'm just worried maybe something is different. I don't know if he's still injured. Remember, it was a hand injury. It wasn't like he tore his groin or he pulled a hamstring off his body or, tore a hip flexor. It was a hand injury. That shouldn't stop your skates and your legs from moving. So that's where I'm a little concerned. Maybe he's just off to a late start, but this is not the Pajot we've seen in the past. Think about it. In the shortened season last year, Jean-Gabriel Pajot, remember, I think he played 50-some-odd games. He had 14 goals, 14 assists in the regular season. Fantastic. Phenomenal. I mean, he was almost averaging a point every other game for the Islanders. And we saw the effort level. It wasn't necessarily the points. It was the effort. This season, I just haven't seen as much of the effort just quite yet.
Okay. Now, this is just an observation on my part, and I could be totally wrong. He doesn't seem to be shooting the puck much this year either. Or he's always shooting the puck previously. He doesn't seem to be shooting the puck much.
He's only got, well, here's the thing. He's got 19 shots on net. Last year, he had 81 shots on net, but he scored on 17.3% of his shots.
Well, he's scoring on 0% of his shots now, isn't he?
5.3. He's got one.
Oh, so he scored one goal. Okay. But it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like he's not shooting as much. Or maybe it's just in big times that he's not shooting as much. I don't know.
Yeah. Brian B. Josh Ho-Sang leading the Toronto Marlies in points and goals. Now, here Islander fans, is something that you might enjoy seeing, right? We had talked about this, that Josh Ho-Sang had all these issues, character issues. He looked so miserable in, post-game interviews, we heard every single excuse under the sun. I can tell you this much. I saw this play from Josh Ho-Sang today, which I'm going to bring up, and it just led me to think, man, oh man, tell me we couldn't use a guy like this. And here it is, right? For the Toronto Maple Leafs, I can promise you, when I watch something like this, because, right, in 12 games, he's got 8 goals, 4 assists, I believe is a +4 for the Toronto Marlies or a +6 for the Toronto Marlies this season. He's really having a hell of a season. I want you to watch this highlight and say, yeah, the Islanders could never have used a guy like this. And I want to ask you this. Who does this remind you of? What does this remind you of? There's only one player I think could ever do anything like this on the Islanders, and he reminds me of one player in this facet, but I'll let you watch instead of blabbing on.
This is him right here. Oh, look
holy shit. Look at that guy.
We don't need any of that on this team. Why would we need somebody who puts the puck in that? Why would we need that?
When I see something like this and I see the love he's getting from his teammates, I can promise you they don't have any character issues with Josh Ho-Sang. I can promise you one other thing. Josh Ho-Sang, mark my words, will be up with the Toronto Maple Leafs at one point in time with the season. The first time a guy gets injured or when you see a guy start to tail off or if their team is struggling, Josh Ho-Sang will be up there. I think Josh Ho-Sang is completely bought in. He's loving everything that Toronto's doing, and he does not have any of the same character issues he seemed to have with us here with Toronto. So
he wouldn't conform to the Barry Trotz way. I'll never forget what they said the first training camp. I'll never forget it till the day that I die. Well, yeah, we're sending Josh Ho-Sang down. There were some things about him. He had a clean slate here, but, they said some things about him. And even though we didn't see it, we're going to send him down to the minors to work on it. Well, if you didn't see it, what the hell did he need to work on? He wouldn't conform and play defense. You want to know why? Because he's a freaking offensive player. You got Matt Barzell to conform. Let's see if he conforms when the next contract is due to be signed. Maybe he says, you know what? I don't want to score 45 points a year when I go anywhere else in the league and score 100 and get consideration for Hart Trophy.
We've always said this. What is the main driver? We say this even on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast, which we do tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in the link in the description below. We talk about this all the time. All people see and think about is money. It's always about money. And when Matt Barzal thinks to himself, yeah, even if the Islanders offer more money, let's say, to stay in New York, I love it. I want to stay here. He doesn't have a family or anything like that just quite yet. He doesn't have like a wife, doesn't have any kids. But, let's say even he does have a family. He thinks to himself, I want to earn as much as I can. Let's say the Islanders are willing to offer me a million more on my contract than anybody else in the market, and they're willing to offer me 8 years. Well, I could go somewhere else. I can go to a Detroit. They've got a lot of cap space. I can go somewhere else in the league, and instead of scoring, let's say, 60 points a season, I could turn that into 100 playing alongside, a high octane offensive style, like with a Cedar, with Lucas Raymond, and I could put up 100 plus points, and I could be one of the faces of hockey. I'm not saying he's going to leave, but I could definitely see him saying, okay, I can maybe get endorsements elsewhere too. But, I put it like this. I want to ask you this question. Matthew C, I think, brings up an important bit. If we lose the next 3 games, or I'd even say the next 2 games, again, that would be against Toronto tomorrow, and on Wednesday, that would be against the Rangers. I don't think we're going to lose both of those games. I think probably we split. And I think the young players you're going to see can play with those high-flying offensive styles. I think you're going to see that. But if we lose those next 3 games, Grump, do you think Lou Lamoriello makes a move, and should he?
No, I don't think he will, and I definitely don't think he should. You're going to have to let the season play out a little bit and see if you're actually competitive for a playoff spot. You got to let the thing settle back down because, like I said, as soon as everybody gets healthy, tonight's game and the play of these guys is going to be an afterthought. He's going to go roll. Just listening to him a bit. Josh Bailey, Anders Lee, these guys have been here since the beginning. I don't care if they've been there since the beginning of freaking time. That doesn't mean that they're the only people who get to drink the water here. Put in players who can actually play, Barry, but that's not what he's going to do. I totally disagree with those comments. Jack Capuano is nowhere near the coach that Barry Trotz is.
Yeah, I was about to say Barry's a hell of a coach. And here's the thing. The only problem we ever have with Barry, and they're always the same 2 or 3, we do not like the personnel decisions at time. We do not like how he rips certain members in the media and others he does not. I always believe you should be relatively fair. If you're going to rip people in the media, rip them all. If you're not going to rip certain people, don't rip any of them. Rip players behind closed doors. I've always said you can't treat all the players the same. Trust me, I get it. I used to play, right? Some need the carrot, some need the whip, but you do it behind closed doors. You don't do it out in the public. And that's the only time I've ever gotten on Barry about that.
And that, as a former player, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's not good for your team or your players. Can you just go back to that previous comment, please?
Which one, Grump?
The last one by David Sean. Yeah. They say Capuano didn't used to play the young players. That's wrong because all the guys who are playing now all played under Capuano. They're all 4 or 5 years younger. So it means that they were young players back then. They're old now. They're all in their 30s now. Back then, they were in their mid-20s.
Remember, they used to have the kid line of Ryan Strome. You used to have Anders Lee back when he was young and Brock Nelson all in the early 20s. He would play younger guys. Yeah. Jack Capuano made he had a lot of other issues.
Yeah.
I always loved the mentality. He said, doesn't matter if we score a goal or give up a goal. We always put our 4th line out there right after a goal is scored.
And Barry adopted that. Now you put the 4th line out there now. Well, you're just spending the next 2 minutes in your own zone, desperately trying not to give up a goal.
I tell you. And then Thomas B said, I get the criticism of Brent Thompson and agree with much of it. However, Lou put this team together. All the veterans were signed by him.
I think that Barry works hand in hand with Lou. Barry tells Lou the type of players that he wants, and Lou goes out and gets them. Lou will bring in younger players. He's done it before. He just hasn't done it here because I don't think that's what Barry wants.
Yeah. Barry plays the 4th line so much that they don't bring the fourth line energy by playing 110% every shift. They think they're a skilled line at this point, which is a joke. I'll tell you, like I see Cal Clutterbuck consistent. He can occasionally provide scoring touch when he's able to walk into a shot unimpeded in the offensive zone or skate into a shot. He puts a lot of those into that. He's got that off foot wrister down pat. It's magical, right? What I see with that. They certain members though just don't bring the energy we need from that fourth line. I agree. We need to have more of a in out, game in game out basis where they have their hair on fire. We just don't see that on enough a consistent basis, Grump.
They don't bring that energy every shift because they're in their freaking mid-30s. You cannot do it the older you get. It has nothing to do with will. They just can't do it because they physically can't do it anymore because they're too damn old. That's why you don't sign fourth line centers to 6-year deals when they're 30 years old. And you don't sign a 32-year-old grinder to a 4-year deal. And you don't possibly re-sign a guy who's going to be 34 years old to who knows how many years. If Cal Clutterbuck says he wants to come back, you watch them re-sign him this offseason.
Oh, God, please no. Atumas Specific says, Trotz loves his roles. If an Aho or Salo can't fill the Chara role, they won't play. Please don't shoot the messenger. I see. I don't actually disagree with that, too much pessimistic. I think that he does want certain people to play roles. I think we have tough players on the team, right? If we were a soft team, I could understand the need to have some tough and some grit. Our team is full of grit players, though, which is why I'm just like, okay, it doesn't really make sense. So like here, it's like, and I know that's the way Trotz thinks. I'm not saying 2 minutes Sticking's point doesn't make sense. Trotz's point just doesn't make sense because I know that's exactly what he thinks. But Grump, before we continue with comments and talking about the Islanders, we do have an ad to read from DraftKings. The NHL season is underway, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer to celebrate the greatest sport on ice. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a one-time clapper or a deft deflection. However they light the lamp, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everybody can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and throw down $1 on any NHL game and win $100 or win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. This week, one puck in the net nets you big with promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. You must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. A minimum of $5 deposit and a $1 wager is required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Little golf clap for TJ performing the ad there.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Man, oh, man. I tell you. But I agree. Yeah, Salo and Dobson need to stay. I just don't think Trotz can bring himself to do it when they're healthy.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
If you give him the option of playing an older guy, that's what he's going to do that every time. That's why you have to just take the options away. Sorry, Barry. And I'm going to tell you again, they need to have a heart-to-heart. Lou and Barry, they need to say, and the ownership might need to step in and says, you know what? Ledecky and Malkin need to say, hey, you know what? I'm sick and tired of watching Josh Bailey be an absolute freaking loser out there on the ice every day.
Here's the thing, right? We say how they might need to have this conversation. Ownership has on multiple occasions said, we let Lou and we let Barry do their thing. They're the coach. They're the general manager. I like that approach. The ownership
is great. The ownership with this team is absolutely sensational.
The ownership is sensational. That being said, when things get out of hand, you should be able to say, hey, we think this is the case with the team. We are anybody with a set of eyes will say we're the oldest team in the league. And if we continue to struggle, maybe we should consider a different path this season. I know we said our goal was the Stanley Cup. If we fall too far behind, or remember, we've been relatively healthy. We have a few COVID issues, right? Imagine if we lose a guy for a few months, right? We've lost Pulak for 4 to 6 weeks. That's a huge loss. Imagine if we were to lose somebody's like, hey, I broke my hand. Hey, I fractured my foot again. I fractured my foot like Pulak. We're in real deep shit then.
What if 13 gets hurt? What if 13 gets hurt? Do you have any faith we're going to score more than a goal a game? I don't. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Nick D said, what do you think if the Islanders lose the next 2 games? Is the season a write-off, Grump? Once again, you're on fire tonight. Right about everything.
I'm not going to say it's a write-off. I think we're just about to the point where there's too many, not just too many points, but too many teams ahead of us in the standings. Teams are more important than points because then you got to count on a whole bunch of teams losing to come back to the pack. And the Metro Division has just been on fire this year. Everyone's going to settle in eventually, but are we going to be able to make up the ground to catch, 6 teams to make the playoffs team? Just highly doubtful. I think we'll find out by the end of next week, after we play Pittsburgh. If we lose the next 3 games, I'm in sell mode. Right away. I know it's a new arena, but let's try to load up on assets.
Here's the thing, Grumpy. We are a lot of points out of the picture. It's early yet in the season, though. I will say that it's very early. The Islanders can be streaky at times. I will be interested to see, because I know you mentioned, hey, there's a lot of teams in front of us. There are. It makes those interdivisional games so freaking important. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot win games in overtime or lose games in overtime against division teams, interdivision teams. You have to win in regulation, right? When you're winning, you cannot afford to give 1 point away to your opponent when you're playing teams in your division, because you're right. Right now, we're in dead last in the division. Not a great spot. I think we do split. I don't think we lose the next 3 games. I think we split. I think with these younger defensemen, with a younger, more mobile team, you're going to see us being able to keep up more with the teams that have the heavy forecheck that can skate. I really do honestly believe that.
You bring up, and here's the thing, right? We play the Rangers, Toronto, the Rangers, and then Pittsburgh. If we lose the next 3 games, you realize we have not beaten a team in our division this year, right? You're aware of that.
Yes.
We have not beaten a team. So it's awful tough to catch the teams in the division when they beat you every time out. Those are 4-point games, and you come out on the losing end every time.
Yeah. I don't anticipate that we're not going to beat any team in our division, grumpy old man. But it's definitely something we're watching it. I think we split. I think as weird as it may sound, I think Sorokin comes out on fire. He stands on his head. We beat Toronto tomorrow.
I hope so.
Alexander saying, I'll tell you, I was really impressed with Panik again and Dobson. Dobson had his best game. I 100% agree.
I thought Wallstrom was good. I thought Nelson was good early. Then he started falling down all the time, but then he scored a couple of big goals. He got into the dirty area and scored a couple of goals. And, that's what he does best. He's not a creator. That's why he has to have a creator on that second line with him. It's certainly not Josh Bailey. But Oliver Wallstrom created for him today. And did Panik set up the first goal? Was it Panik? I don't remember who had the assist on the first goal, but the whole thing is that's where he needs to be, in front of the net. He's got a better shot than Anders Lee does. He certainly does. He's where he needed to be, and he potted 2 goals. And I thought he looked good with Bellows and Wallstrom. I'd give that line a roll for the foreseeable future. Everybody else fight for your freaking spots. That line's producing. We're keeping them together for the next week or 2.
I think you're right. I think Brock Nelson defensively, I think, has struggled a little bit this season. He has. I thought tonight we even mentioned it, did a great job forcing turnovers in a neutral zone. I thought he did I thought he had overall tonight a really, really solid performance. Yeah, I'm not just saying, because he scored 2 goals. I just think in general he had a really solid performance. Now, when you're talking about this, right, this is the bread and butter spot for Brock Nelson. He's got a good wrister, but look at this. Boom.
Great shot. I don't know who made the pass.
Wallstrom again. Or maybe
it was Wallstrom. So Wallstrom had both assists then.
I got to give it here.
Okay. Yeah, they changed it though.
Okay.
But the whole thing was Dobson.
Right. It's Panik. You're right.
Okay. Dobson like I said, that's why I watch the games, because I know those things. That's
Shut
why I watch the games. Seriously. While you're telling me,
Get
hey,
the
stop
out
staring at the TV, stop doing this. Well, that's why I know what I know, because I watch it. All right.
Get the hell out of here. You're ridiculous. I
Okay.
can't.
So that's why I know.
I can't
But,
with your ass right now.
okay. But here's the thing, right? You know, as a player, I mean, I know you were a full-time starter, but I'm sure there are other players on the team who are, in and out of the lineup. When you're afraid of making a mistake, you tend to make mistakes because you're not playing free.
When a coach shows confidence in younger guys, it allows them to grow their game. I really do believe that. So that's one of those things I want to see more of. Matthew C., I think it's an important point. He said he took us from the worst defense in a year to one of the best defenses. I won't forget.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was needed. This team needed structure. We scored a bunch of goals, but man, we were a sieve. We were more fun to watch. Let's be honest. We were more fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But we needed that structure.
You want to know what else too? Like you mentioned how we were a more fun team to watch. Back when we had Doug Waite, I'll never forget the game when Tyler Bertuzzi, I think Todd Bertuzzi's kid, he slashed Cal Clutterbuck in the leg or in the quad. We were down by 2 goals with 5 minutes left to go. And Clutterbuck went down like he was shot. Like he had shot him in the back. Whoa, my knee. And they gave him a 5-minute major and threw Bertuzzi out of the game. We then proceeded to score. I think we were down by 2 at the time. We scored 3 goals in the last 5 minutes in order to win the game. And I was like, oh my God, it was so exciting to watch. We were a shitty team. We'd start off the year season great. Remember when Nick Leddy was receiving, hey, Nick Leddy's going to win the Norris Trophy because the Islanders were winning so many games. We're fresh off of the new face of Doug Waite, looking like a mastermind out there. He was scoring points in droves, and then he had the worst plus minus in all of hockey that season.
Yeah. I mean, do you think we can even score 3 goals in a game now, let alone 3 in 5 minutes?
We could score 3 in a game. It's not likely. We don't score. We only have, think about this, guys. We have played 14 games so far this season and have 31 goals.
That's not very good.
Yeah, I was about to say we could go ahead and break out the calculators. It doesn't look good regarding goals scored per game. It's been the problem that's bothered us it's been a problem that's bothered us for years now, and it's not getting any better. I will say with some of the younger guys though, we've seen a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, right? That's like 2.2 goals a game, Grumpy. Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're adding up. I just did.
You know how you're a bad team? Just look at your plus and minus. I mean, just look at how many, your goal differential. That's how you know you're a bad team.
Oh, stop. Okay. Maybe Pajot is tired of the system. I'm just guessing here.
No, I don't think he's tired of the system. I think it's either that he's injured or maybe his game is just slowing down.
Tony Cheese said this has to be the turning point in the season. The roster moves Trotz needs to make have never been more clear. I agree with you. I think this is a time period where it should be hitting him in the head like with a freaking anvil on the head to say, hey, these are the moves we need to make regarding personnel. Will he do it going forward? No idea.
What the frick is that Tony's eating there?
I don't know, but I'm hungry. I didn't eat dinner tonight. I'm down for anything. I've got some rice cakes over here that I was munching on.
Make sure to take the plastic off.
Grumpy, usually what I like to do when I eat my rice cakes, I go, who's that guy? Who's that character that would go on the beach and eat hamburgers?
Wimpy?
Oh, Wimpy. That's what I feel like.
How apropos that's your character. Wimpy and the grumpy old man.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. I'm a big Ho-Sang believer. It was a misuse of talent.
Never given a shot. Never given a shot. Had nothing to do with talent. Never, even in the minors, playing him on the 4th line. How stupid are you? How much of a moronic organization do you have to be? I mean, and that was even before Fredo. Was Fredo in charge back then?
Fredo was in charge, but think about this. I used to hear arguments from people saying, oh, well, Josh Ho-Sang doesn't even play on the top 2 lines. What makes you think he should ever get minutes here on the NHL, on the Islanders organization? When you give him a top top six role like he has right now with Toronto Marlies, he scores in droves. He lights the lamp, which is what he does. And he assists, he creates offensively, he puts a puck in the back of the net, and he supplements offense. That's his job. His job is not to be, you're going to play 13 minutes a night. You're going to throw a check at everything that moves. You're going to go ahead and make sure you play a 200-foot game. You're going to make sure that you stick check anytime a guy enters your zone. That's not what he does.
This guy, Trotz would be pissed if Connor McDavid had 70 points a year. He complained that if he had 200 points a year, like I said, Gretzky could never play here. Bossy could never play here. I mean, you know what? I know something? Here's the thing. You mentioned about Ho-Sang. Where's Oliver Wahlstrom playing when he's playing on the big team? Third line, fourth line. He's a top six player, Barry. He's a goal scorer. Use him in the role that he was drafted for and that his talent level and skill level dictates. Not what you want to turn him into, some automaton robot. That's not what he is. That's why you only go so far. You got lucky to make it to the conference finals 2 years in a row. Before that, you'd only been to the conference finals once in your whole freaking 35-year career.
I tell you, Josh Hosting's gonna be always one of those things where you either love him or you hate him regarding the fans. Fans either love Josh Hosting or they hate him. That's for certain. And here's the thing: I've always believed the guy is an absolutely spectacular talent. And here's the thing: I don't ever wish him, ill riddance. There's only one guy I was like, I would be happy if this guy never won a cup. One guy, and it's because of the way he left. Other than that, I don't wish any of the ex-Islander. I don't wish any of the ex-Islanders, not for certain. Go back to the reservation and bring back Ted Nolan.
I love Teddy Nolan. I thought Teddy Nolan was a great coach. Had nothing to work with here. Absolutely nothing. I know he's been blackballed from the league for, I don't remember the reason. I don't know the reason. I don't know. But I always thought he was a fantastic coach in Buffalo. And with the retreads that he had here, I thought he did a great job as well. Great coach.
When's the last time he coached?
Long time. Always liked Teddy Nolan, though. Always.
Yeah, he returned back to the Buffalo Sabres in 2013 to 2015, and that was it. Now he's coaching. He was started coaching the Polish national. You want to talk about a fall from grace? Holy shit! He was coaching in the NHL, and he was coaching a Polish national men's hockey team. Holy crap! You want to talk about a fall from grace now? Jesus, Nolan.
He's better. He's not better than Jeremy Colleton. He's not better than the clown they got in Arizona. The guy in at the Kraken. Come on, Dave Haskell. Come on.
SP said the Islanders are 7 points out of the playoffs. Can we catch up with the Metro on fire? Here's the thing: we got to start winning some games. I think we split. Right again, you're never as good as you think, and you're never as bad as you think. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are not as bad as the losing streak we're on currently at the moment. Right there. You know what? I hate to sound like Mr. Positive right now, but you're never as bad as you think. And I think there are positives to take away what we saw at tonight's game. I think tomorrow we could see Sorokin on fire in net. And I think maybe we get an overtime win, or maybe we lose in overtime. Maybe we get a point. I'm not sure. I think we play Toronto close.
How does your best goalie not play tonight at opening your new arena? Maybe that's a question we should ask, huh? What do you think?
Yeah. I agree. I wasn't sure why he didn't play. But Sorokin's the best goalie. Not sure why the best goalie doesn't play every opportunity he gets. Maybe they just said, "Hey, we want you to play the second half of the back-to-back." Couldn't tell you why though.
Yeah, no idea.
Dimitri P said, "Is Martin the least skilled player in the league?"
No, there's other guys less scheduled, less skilled than he is, but he's in the bottom.
He's in the bottom tier for certain.
Yeah, for certain.
All C said Aho had 5 shots on that, and that's the thing. When we talk about our power play, we had a lot of opportunities tonight, right? We had 6 power play opportunities, I believe. We had 6 power play opportunities, if I recall correctly. That being said, Aho made a consistent effort to shoot the freaking puck as many times as humanly possibly can on it. Didn't matter if they had traffic. He threw the puck towards the net. It's the same thing that Dobson does that makes him good when he's on a power play and he feels comfortable. Put the puck on net as many times as humanly possible. Don't try to make it to where it's a perfect, pristine opportunity where you could pass the puck in the net blindfolded, right? Shoot the damn puck towards the net and get a dirty, nasty, disgusting goal. I don't care. The puck goes in, it's all the same.
Do you want to know? Remember earlier in the season, the Islanders don't draw enough penalties. Why not? Is the league against them? No. Here's the reason. Tonight, the younger guys move their freaking feet. When you move your feet, you make teams have to react and commit penalties against you. When you got the Giesel squad out there who don't move, they're just standing around. You don't even have to do anything to defend them. You saw guys move their feet today, drawing penalties. And not one of them was from Matt Barzell, by the way. It was everybody else. The younger guys drawing penalties because they're not afraid to move their feet. Or they're capable of moving their feet where the other guys aren't.
Thanks, Alexander. Vinny L said this team is built for the CHL, the COVID Hockey League, playing under 65 games a year.
True.
I think
100%.
You're right. We've always mentioned it, right? 2 years ago, we would not have made the playoffs if it was not for COVID. We had a 7-game losing streak, and we had lost 10 of the last 11 games, I believe it was, at the trade deadline, even before the trade deadline. We had said, holy crap, COVID coming there saved us because we were able to have the play in. We had that truncated season. And last year, what was it, only 50-some-odd games, Grumpy? It was only 54 games or 56 games. It was a
54.
shortened season, 54 games, right? And we're designed for a shortened season. We always said, how are all these older players going to hold up in 82 games? We were called crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, man, Barry's got it covered. Barry's got a cup. How many cups do you have? Look at the team. They've been to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. How dare you ever question what they do? How dare you, TJ and Grumpy Old Man? How dare you even put a thought in my head that would question the pristine image I have of Barry Trotz and the New York Islanders? How dare you do that? We mention the questions all the time, right? We're going to keep asking them because it seems like that might be a possibility. That's our job, right? To ask questions. What may be actually going on that maybe you're not hearing about, that people are not reporting because all they see is right here instead of the forest for the trees.
And you are guilty of that too, because you always continually want to shut me up when I bring up how we got here. Right? How we got here. There you go. So you're doing it right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to draw a comparison. You're like a bootlicking weasel too, because I try to tell you how we got here. Now, here's a prediction once again for Grumstradamus. If we don't make the playoffs this year and we perform miserably, and you're going to see people start writing, is this team, did they benefit from shortened seasons being an older team? You're going to see it. So just know you've heard it here first. We've been talking about it for 2 years. You're going to hear it here first. Like I just said it now. You watch. Mark my words. If we have a miserable season, it's going to be blamed on that because of the COVID thing. Maybe this team wasn't as good as we thought. Maybe they shouldn't have been predicted to be first place in the division. Who the hell would ever have predicted that? I sure didn't. And then you're going to see, oh, maybe the fact that they're older, they can't play a full season. Maybe that's why they were successful the other 2 years. Just know you heard it here first.
Absolutely. Again, I 100% agree, Grumpy, and it's something that you and I have mentioned for a long time. I appreciate that. JT Sports,
By the way, that last comment you had up, that was the highlight of the night for me, really.
Hall of Famers coming out there.
Oh, my gosh, it was great. I love seeing the old guys just come out there and, take a little, how do you do? Fantastic.
Tell me about it, Grump. What else did you like about it?
It's so funny. All I had to do, and the guys are quite a bit older than when they played, but I knew every single guy just by looking at them. As soon as I saw their number or I saw their face, I'm like, yep, bing, bang, boom, boom. Had everybody right. Like I said, those guys that's in when I was younger.
Bing, bang, boom, boom.
Bing, bang, boom.
JT Sports, yeah, oldest team in the league. You're not winning anything with grandpas on the ice.
100% agree there.
And Nick C saying, thank God for ownership. They don't like something, they'll step in.
They're the best type of owners, honestly. If you need something, they're going to give it to you. They're going to spend money, and they're going to let the general manager do his job. Lou Lamoriello is a great general manager. He's messed up some things here for certain, particularly contract renegotiations.
But he's also done really good in some contract renegotiations in other areas for certain.
Yeah. But you know what? The more I look at it and I see those guys putting up no points, that's why they didn't get $9 million a year. You got to be able to score some to get paid that much money.
He also brought over Sorokin, brought in a legitimate head coach, brought legitimacy back to the Islanders. The owners here are fantastic.
Yeah.
Ledecky and Malkin, we cannot say enough about. Number one, UBS Arena. Thank you so much, Ledecky and Malkin. Thank you so much, right? Thank you.
best ownership this organization's ever had. Roy Bowe, who was the first guy, I don't think he had the money. I think his heart was in the right place, but these guys have the money, and that helps. These guys are great owners, great owners.
Ryan Richards said, I've been talking trash to Ranger fans and Devils fan all offseason, and I'm embarrassed. LOL, what a joke of a team.
Ryan, you should have listened to this, because I don't think I've ever seen Ryan's name before in comments. You should have listened to this podcast first before you got all high and mighty.
I was about to say, we are about to be in a rough little bit because the Rangers don't look like they're going to slow down. They're drinking the Gerard Gallant Kool-Aid, just like Florida drank a few years ago, or many years ago when they first went on their hot streak, just like the Vegas Golden Knights did when they propelled themselves up. I think that the Rangers are also drinking the Gerard Gallant Kool-Aid. That's for certain.
He's very good with younger players. It's funny, they got one guy who's out for the year. Bam, they're looking Blaze is out for the year. They're already looking to pick somebody up. That's a team you know is serious. And here's the thing, Dolan's not afraid to spend money either.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Absolutely there. Mario says, Tortorella, come in and get ready to see Barzal, Sorokin, and anybody else who had skill player leave. I'm not a huge fan of Tortorella.
I don't think he works.
I saw the comment earlier. Here's the thing. He's got such short shelf life. He's a guy that's he is a very bombastic person where it could rub players the wrong way.
He can browbeat a younger team to be really, really good, and usually gets immediate results wherever he's at. But I think a veteran team, he would not be the coach for them.
You talk about a team tuning somebody out. I don't think a single player would be like, yeah, let me drink the Tortorella Kool-Aid. That's just not. I just don't think it would be a good mix here.
No.
Isles 44 says they've dug too much of a hole for themselves. If they have the opportunity to dump some salary, they better do it.
I don't want to hear why we're keeping players is because they've been loyal soldiers all these years. I could care less. I could care less how many foxholes you've been in. If you can't play anymore, or if we can get anything for you, Josh Bailey, Anders Lee, you're gone. Why? Because we want to get your salary off of our books. That's what I want to see. Dump them. Anders Lee, hey, we love you. You've been a great captain, an average player. But, hey, do you want a chance to play for a winner this year, or do you want to stay on this team?
Okay. He's got way too much term. Nobody's ever going to take the Anders Lee contract, ever.
No one would take Scott Gomez's contract either. There's always somebody who'll take the contract. You just have to be willing to make the deal.
But W said, I really wish Trotz would let Bellows play with Barzal. They seem to mesh well.
You think so, right? He's a guy. Bellows is not afraid to drive the net. He's not afraid to drive the net. Is he the greatest skater? No, he's not. But neither would be the goof that he'd be replacing.
Dimitri P said Salo led in time on ice. Trotz let him play. And that's what I think. We all came with every single Islander fan. We saw it there. Salo looked great. There's a reason we saw that. Number one, Trotz said, play your style. Play, man. We'll let you play Robin Salo. And we saw that the guy can play. There's no way in hell when everybody's healthy that he should not be starting over Big Z. No way.
True.
Yeah. JT Sports. Chara needs to retire before he has a heart attack. He's too old and slow.
I don't think he'd have a heart attack. He's in great shape. He just can't skate anymore.
Grumpy. He's eating his skinny popcorn. Oh, Tony Cheese. I love it, man. I love it, Tony.
I was talking about the orange stuff in front. That's fine.
He was coming at you for jab earlier.
I know. Yeah, I know what he's doing. What do you think? You think this is my first freaking rodeo?
Oh, I love it. Paulo C. The problem is our centers don't have much to play with. Okay, we have Bavillier, Palmieri, Wallstrom, Bailey, but we're missing a putter to the wing.
Bavillier.
Hey, Bailey. Yikes. Bailey, no.
Bailey sucks. Wallstrom, never given a legitimate shot. Palmieri, F-. Bavillier, second, third line tweener. I mean, that's what he is. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody else. We don't have any offensive talent. That's why we don't score goals.
Matthew S. said, just got home. Arena was beautiful. We can't catch a break. I heard the arena was fantastic. I watched all the videos. It looks so, I mean, it looks, right, it's got, I think, a good look to it. It's got like the white and everything, like the lights really pop on the inside of the arena. I saw everything, live streams that people had on it. It looked fantastic. I'm jealous. I'm envious, Matt S. Sorry that they obviously didn't get a win, but hey, I'm jealous you got to go to the first game of the new arena. Also, let me talk about this. What the hell was up with so many of the empty seats in the lower portion, the lower bowl of the arena? I was shocked by that. So many empty seats. They said it was a sellout, but I see so many empty seats.
Maybe, and I mentioned this on the live stream, maybe those are corporate seats, and maybe they were trying to sell them for ridiculous prices. They thought they could get that, and no one would buy them, so they got stuck with them. It's corporate write-off, doesn't matter.
You know what it's like, Grumpy? It's like when you see somebody, and here's the thing: I'm like, why didn't they just have somebody go to the game? Why didn't you just give? When I see stuff like that, I think to myself, it's like when a food joint gets done with the day, they have some leftover food and they just throw it in the trash. And like they got homeless people that are out there as well, where it's just like, oh, you could just go drop this off to a homeless person, but they throw all the
Well, they give it to employees. They give it to employees.
Well, what the employees don't eat, they just dump in the trash. I used to work at a movie theater like that. Like we just dump everything in the trash at the end of the day. You're not allowed to give it to anybody like that.
So you think they should go trolling the streets for homeless people to give the food?
I'm not okay. Let's break it down. I'm not trying to say it's a like for like. I'm just saying if there's tickets out there, people didn't want to go to the game. What the hell, man? I'm like, I wasn't like there was like 4 or 5 empty seats the entire day. It looked like there was more empty seats than filled seats in the lower bowl, dude. It looked like there was, seriously, I want to say there was about at least 30 to 40% of those seats down there were empty. I was like, what the hell is this?
Maybe they are hanging out. Maybe they're hanging out at some of the eating establishments up top.
They're getting a Shack burger. They're getting a Shack burger for $16.
Very possible. I don't know what the lines were like. I have no idea.
They were waiting to take a piss, is what it really was, Grump. Because
I'm going to bet there's plenty of bathrooms. I'm going to bet there are plenty of bathrooms there, even for you. Even for you, with however you have to pee, there's probably enough bathrooms per capita for you.
Mario says Pajot's best season was 15-16 when he scored 19 goals and had 24 assists, 43 points, and he had his second best was 40 points in his walkaway year. That was also shortened with COVID. Pajot being a player who has always been, Lamoriello gave up way too much, a first and a second for him when they could have signed him as a free agent.
And I love JG Pajot. I love the way he plays. It's true. And I said that was too much to give up for him. Remember, TJ? And I wanted him. That said, if he's an unrestricted free agent, why would he come to the Islanders? Because you know what? If you have to subjugate your game to play for a team where you can get the same money or maybe even better money somewhere else, why would you go there if you can play a more wide open style that's better suited to your game?
Isles 44 saying, by the way, well, why would he do that? To answer your question, Grump, I mean, I think a paycheck. I think he got paid a good bit for the to stay with the Islanders too, right? He's getting like $5 million a year to be a third line center. I mean, he plays a lot of roles, but it's a third line center getting $5 million a year. And with the Islanders too, it's family. It's got a home field to it, and he's got a chance. When he signed with us again, he had a chance to win a cup. Right? They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They say, "Oh, righty, this is a team that is going to give me $5 million a year to be a third line center, and we're going to be a playoff contender." Absolutely, I'll join. Where do I sign?
Yeah, but I think that's why they had to trade for him. I don't think that he would have signed. I think he would have went. He could have went somewhere else. I mean, he was more than a third line center in Ottawa.
He was a second line guy.
Yeah, so I mean, he could have got second line money anywhere else he went. I mean, he's a really good player. I don't know if, like I said, if he's injured now or what the deal is, or if he's just on the downside. Anything is possible. Not everybody plays into their 30s,
Mm-hmm. Isles 44 said, by the way, what was with Capuano's love for Brian Straight?
Could never figure it out. There are coaches that just love certain players for whatever reason. And
no. All coaches always have certain players we absolutely love. Really, really good ones will love a certain player, but they'll say, shit, man, it's something about we just don't win when you're on the ice, even though I love what you do. But certain coaches all coaches always have certain players they love. A player he adored. Matthew C said, I don't want to hear the Rangers fan Wednesday if they smoke us. Ugh. I hope not too many are going to be at UBS.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the split is. I don't want to hear let's go Rangers, though. I don't want to hear it.
I don't either. Donald W says Islanders have a big hill to climb. I think you're right. They've got an uphill battle. For certain they do. And that's the thing. When you've got an uphill battle, right, you got to slowly chisel away at it. And with a veteran team, I think you could tell them, hey, man, you got to keep your head down one game at a time. You could slowly chisel your way up. I do believe that.
So you think it's like a sculpture, do you? Chisel it away a little bit at a time.
Sure. Paul O.C. said, we'll win tomorrow. Mark my words. Sorokin, Sorokin, Sorokin.
That's what I'm hoping.
Absolutely. SP said, Grump, if Barzal moved his feet, he would get benched. He's gradually being transformed into Barry Trott's grinder. So sad to see such talent wasted.
Barry even said that in an interview. I think it was early this week or last week. He's like, he's finally, conforming to what we want him to do. Ugh, I felt bad. It's like you've neutered him, you've worn him out, you've ground him down. And you know what? Look at his numbers. How do they look this year? Yeah, he's playing better defensively. He's not scoring anymore. Why not? I guess because he's worried about playing defense all the time.
He's playing a full 200-foot game, though, Grump.
Gretzky was scoring 200 points a year for Edmonton. If he played here, he'd score 50.
In 14 games so far, he's got four.
He wouldn't even play. Gretzky could never play for the system. Never. Because he couldn't skate and he never back-checked. Bossy, never. I don't care, Mike Bossy. You scored 538 goals in 10 years. You're not playing here because you don't play enough defense. Al Albert said, I can teach him to play defense. I can't teach him how to score goals.
Vinny Smith, he always gives us the Josh Bailey update, said 2 games in a row. Bailey was not a minus. Way to go, Bailey.
This is the best stretch of his career, this last 2 games.
Isles 4, and thanks always, Vinny Smith. I love when you do that. Isles 44 said, if nothing else, the game tomorrow will be entertaining. Listening to Islanders fans torment Tavares. That for certain it will be.
Yeah. I don't even care about that anymore.
You're over the John Tavares?
I was always over it. It never bothered me. I know it bothered you. It never bothered me.
I'm upset because we didn't get back anything in return.
We don't need to go through that again. You have a long history of your butthurtedness over John Tavares.
Jesus, man, oh man, Grumpy. I tell you. Yeah, we can't even get the first goal without a screw up. Yeah. Hey, but Matt Martin did get the first assist for UBS Arena. He did assist. I think it was Mangiapane.
I don't know if it was Mangiapane.
I don't remember who scored it. I think for the Calgary Flames. I don't remember who scored it for the Calgary Flames.
I think it was Richardson.
I don't know, but Matt Martin did have the first helper in UBS Arena history. So when that goes down in the history books, you could just say Matt Martin, and somebody asks you, no, that's not the case. Trust me, that is the case. Just go look back at the film.
It's an assist that will live in infamy.
Oh, yeah. And then Matthew C. said, the system is great, just need youth and speed like Carolina. Imagine Trotz with the Rangers.
Never work. It would never work there.
He would go crazy because they would not. I don't think they would play enough defense, and I don't know.
He'd have a stroke before the middle of the second week of the season.
Well, let me ask you this: would you have said the same thing about the Islanders when he took over the Islanders when Doug Weight was the coach? Right, we're the worst defensive team in the history of the NHL.
No,
or one of the, or maybe it's the second worst behind the Detroit Red Wings of many years ago.
Yeah, no, because the Ranger guys actually have talent. Their younger players are really talented. Our guys were older too, right? We're 27, 26, 28. That was the age range. The Rangers guys are like 21, 22. You got a couple of guys who are in their prime, your Zibanejad and Kreider and stuff like that. But a lot of their really talented, the young guys, the guys who are lighting it up for them and starting to blossom, Lafreniere, all those guys.
Lafreniere,
whatever his name is,
grumpy son of a gun.
You got Kako. I mean, those guys are 20, 21 years old. So, first of all, they would not be playing. If they were playing for Barry Trotz, they'd be in the minors. They'd be in Hartford.
Matthew S. said, also, apparently was on the Jumbotron in the second period. Matt S.
Well, sorry, we didn't see that.
Alice 44 said, I have to give you guys credit about Chara. I don't like the signing, but I thought you guys were on top in your dismay, or over the top in your dismay with the signing of him. Well, gentlemen, I've seen the light. Hey, Alice 44, we're glad you're on our side.
Our delivery could be over the top, but we're never wrong on that stuff, ever.
I'll make a big points there. What a film saying with Sorokin in net tomorrow, I'm calling a win. Is anyone back in the lineup tomorrow? We could use Bavillier, Pellick, and Pulak. I don't think. Yeah, Pulak's out for 4 to 6, and Pellick and Bavillier, they're going to be in COVID protocol. So I have no idea how long they'll be out. Maybe just a game or two more. I'm not sure. Hopefully by next weekend they'll be good to go.
I think if you have no symptoms, you have to have 2 negative tests in a row. I don't know how
Within
often
24 hours or within like 48 hours. So maybe if they tested negative now, again, like I don't know.
I would not count on tomorrow.
Every league does a COVID protocol different. Every freaking league does their COVID protocol different. Every single one. Hard to keep track. That's all I'm saying. Alexander's saying, yeah, but the one thing, Gallant never won. And also, they don't play defense. Here's the thing. Gallant was a coach that gets you to the point where you have a chance to win, but then you always have to change coach. Vegas did it. They were proactive with it. They say, hey, Gallant got us to this point. Gallant's not going to get us over the hump. Never has been able to. Boom. Be proactive. We're going to get somebody else in. I think the Rangers will probably do the same thing. Get Gallant to establish these players, to get them to understand what it takes to be pros, to get them drinking on, hey, this is the talent you guys have. This is how you have to use it, and they'll have to replace Gallant. But here's the thing. Like for Gallant's hope, I hate the Rangers. I'm not a Ranger fan. But as a guy, as a person, if, we were out of the playoff picture, I would have no problem with Gallant winning a first cup. With the Rangers or without the Rangers. I'm not wishing the Rangers win a cup. I'm saying Gallant as a person, I'd like to see win a cup. I don't want to see him do it with the Rangers, but I'd like to see Gallant win a cup. That's all.
Yeah, I like Gerard Gallant. I really did. He was the one guy on the coaching staff that the Islanders had that they let go. They kept the other 2 clowns, but they let him go. I like him. I really do. Until he won the cup in Washington, Barry Trotz was Gerard Gallant.
Yeah.
It's a rhinestone cowboy.
Amen, Donald.
Glenn Campbell.
Amen. We have not gotten that sniper, that pure goal scorer for years, and need to improve on that. Hey, there was one available this offseason.
For nothing. For a bag of freaking peanuts. For peanuts.
That's what we heard. The rumor on the street for a bag of peanuts. We didn't take him. Maybe didn't like his medicals, thought he wouldn't be able to pick it up. Who the hell knows what line of excuses we heard? Couldn't make it work in the cap. I've heard every excuse in the books. Don't buy it.
For a team that was all in, you didn't take a chance to get a truly elite talent for nothing. Instead, you signed a couple of retreads, 44-year-old Chara, 37-year-old Parise. You didn't need to re-sign Kyle Palmieri. That's $5 million right there. You didn't need that. They didn't want to pay his salary. So what? You didn't need to re-sign Kyle Palmieri. You could have dished off Josh Bailey anywhere, given up a second-round pick to get rid of that piece of garbage. And then you had plenty of money to bring in Vladimir Tarasenko. They didn't have the balls to do it. Now you see the situation you're in.
Paulo C saying, relax, guys. 14 of our next 20 games are home games. Here's the thing. Our record at home last year was 21-3-4. I don't think we're going to have the same home record this season. That being said, I thought we looked good with the younger guys in the second half. Again, you're never as good as you think. You're never as bad as you think. You just put yourself in a really tough position if you lose the next 2 or 3 games. You're just in a really, really, really tough position. You've got an uphill climb. That's for certain. And then Frank K saying it wasn't empty. They let you stand along what seemed to be a small concourse like at Citi Field. And Jeff Elmer also saying here, it wasn't 30 to 40%, maybe about 5 to 10%. Maybe I'm completely crazy. I thought I saw a lot of empty seats when I was watching the game.
Yeah, but you never know. It's like after intermission or, people late getting back to their seats. Like I said, they might have said, you know what? We got good view everywhere we go. We're enjoying eating the Shack Burger and the Offsides bar or whatever the heck they were.
I like going to the Blue Line Deli, the Donald Rosner there. Oh yeah, maybe it is grumpy. Good bagels. Yeah. We got a comment here. Meatball Parm said we would love to see Ratu with the other kids.
I found it interesting that Arthur Staple said that the Islanders would be willing to move this year's whatever draft picks they have, all the young defensemen in the minors, Salo included, as well as Atu Ratu, because, they're all in it this year. Well, you know what? You're making a mistake. This team is not good enough and will not be good enough. I don't care who you obtain to win a Stanley Cup this year. We might not even be good enough to make the playoffs this year. You don't throw away any more of your future to try to chase a dream that is never, and I freaking mean ever, going to happen with this group of players. And
Wow.
that's as nice as I can say it.
If you're willing to give up all the young guys on the farm, like your Sallows, your Boldukes, your Aturatus, your draft picks included, oh man.
The only guy they didn't include in there was Simon Holmstrom, because I guess they feel he has no value.
Drew S said, "Does Chara see game number 70? He shouldn't even see game number 17."
Yep. He loves him.
Alexander, yeah, I saw that spin Marama goal. It was a hell of a setup by Matt Martin. Hell of a feed.
It was the best. I think he's the best assist he's ever had.
That's his best career assist. Paulo C said, there are some players that play better and are more valuable in the playoffs than the regular season. Pajot is the type of player that you want in the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's the energy that's missing.
Usually brings the energy even in the regular season. I think in the playoffs, he brings it to a next level for certain. But in the regular season, I still see flashes where I'm like, holy crap, Jean-Gabriel Pajot is taking a game over. Or man, oh man, it seems like every single shift he's out there, you got to watch out for Jean-Gabriel Pajot because he's putting so much offensive pressure on a forward check, and he's doing a hell of a job forcing turnovers in neutral zone. I just haven't seen any of those so far this year. I mean, we're 14 games in the season. And here's the thing. I'm not a guy who's like, hey, let's jump on. Hey, this is crazy. We need to have immediate results. But I think to myself, okay, we're 14 games in the season, right? Soon enough, it's going to be, tomorrow it's going to be 15. We're going to be over a quarter of the way through the season, 20 games in. You think to yourself, I'm like, okay, we're pretty close to a quarter of the way through the season. And I just haven't really seen a lot of progression. I haven't really seen a lot of promising signs yet.
Maybe he needs Josh Bailey back on his line to jettison his play to new heights.
That's it, Grump. I agree, man. I agree with you. Vinny L said, I would not be against a Varlamov trade right about now, while we can still get something back in value.
For me, you're going to have to wait a while. It's not going to be now. I want to make sure that my team is legitimately, where you say, barring some miracle and, you can do some type of mental mathematical gymnastics that we could qualify for a playoff spot, likely not to happen, and an injury to another team's goalie, then I would absolutely move him for something, for a second round pick or whatever you can get from him. It's all about, from where the team is now and an age standpoint, it's about acquiring as many assets as you can.
I 100% agree with you, Kelly, right? Keep Salo in. Green and Char should rotate. But hey, I'm not even opposed to having Aho in there either. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, Varlamov's numbers have not been great this season. He's got 1 year left on the deal. Go ahead, Grump. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that. And here's the thing. Salo and Aho were not perfect tonight. But you want something? The mistakes that they made, they more than made up with what they brought to the table, if you know what I mean.
The mistakes they made are correctable with coaching. The mistakes Chara makes are not correctable with coaching. The mistakes Chara makes are because he just cannot physically do it anymore. So again, that's why we're a big proponent of playing the younger guys. You can fix correctable mistakes. You cannot fix hey, you're too slow to keep up when that forward gets around you. Or, hey, if you open up your body in order to try to go ahead and keep with the forward skating, making a move to skate to the outside, he cuts right to the inside. He makes you look like Swiss cheese and you're on your ass again. Like, there's certain mistakes that Chargers cannot correct. There are correctable mistakes that Robin Salo and Sebastian Aho and Noah Dobson all make, but they're correctable things.
Look at TJ making his first salient point in 6 months. Good job, TJ.
It only took many podcasts and 2 hours or 5 hours of podcasting today, Grumpy.
Yeah.
Matthew S. said, it was a case that I was on the side of the arena. Martin handed it on a silver platter. Oh, God.
It was terrible. Man. That was terrible.
SP said, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid both have more points than the Islanders team combined together have goals.
Well, I know the two of them have more points than the whole Islander forward group put together.
That is true.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Accurate.
Those guys, neither one of those guys could play for Barry Trotz. He'd be benching their ass on a regular basis. Connor McDavid, what do you mean you won a Hart Trophy how many times? What do you mean you're the best player in the league? You're putting too many pucks in the net I need you to be more defensively responsible back there.
Alexander said with Beauvillier, Lee, and Pellick, it's just that they need a failed test. They need a negative COVID test. Well, great. Hopefully they can get that. I don't know when they could take it, but having them back in the lineup tomorrow night, well, here we go, right? If we have them back in the lineup tomorrow night, guess what? That's the last we've seen of Sebastian Aho, or maybe it's the last we've seen of Robin Salo. Think about this. So let's say Pellick gets a negative test. He's back in the lineup. Who are they going to move around, right? Who are they going to move off? Are they going to say, hey, Sebastian, because I think Sebastian Aho played on his offside tonight.
We always ask the young guys to play on their offside, not the old guys. The veterans who you figure, with their experience, they should be able to play the offside much easier. Not in the Islander system. Only the young guys, the guys we can send back down to the minors. We're going to make it as difficult for them to look as good as we can. So we'll make them play on their offside.
Gotcha. I can't remember who it was who played on the offside. Long story short, I'll be interested to see if Pellick's back in the lineup, who sits. Should be Chara, right? Move it around to make sure where Chara could sit. Because Pellick is a right-handed defenseman, not a left-handed defenseman, right? You look at Dobson, he's a left-handed defenseman. Aho naturally is a left-handed defenseman. Chara, left-handed defenseman. Also, Salo, left-handed defenseman.
I think everyone played on their regular side. Hutton. Now, of course, when they mix and match, it's another thing. But Hutton was the right-handed defenseman with Salo. Aho was a left-handed defenseman with Mayfield, and Dobson was the right-handed defenseman with the pylon.
Fair enough, Crump. Kelly S. also saying here, thoughts on UBS lower bowl. For me, it's not too steep. It's not steep enough. Not steep enough. It's very wide.
Well, you know what? I always hate where I feel like I'm walking down a ladder, going down the steps. I don't know. Especially like some of those narrow walkways, like, man, you take a wrong step.
Okay, see, Joe H is pointing up the point that I brought up too. Yes, center ice, the benches were about half empty, but tomorrow will be better. Again, like I thought there were about like 30 to 40%, and maybe there was a lot of people standing on the concourse area watching the game. Here's the thing: if I pay for those fantastic seats, I'm gonna sit in those damn seats.
Well, but here's the thing: think about how expensive those seats were. Maybe that is the case. Maybe there's a lot of people who bought those seats saying, hey, we were there on opening night. I mean, I think you'll see it settle down after a few weeks.
Fair enough. Vinny L said, yeah, maybe a positive COVID test or maybe a negative or positive COVID test and switch it with Bailey's test to keep him out even longer.
I agree with that. Smart play. Smart move.
And then 2 minutes pessimistic, he's saying Shane Wright seems to be the consensus number 1 overall pick. Just doing my research. Yeah, Shane Wright, right? They call it pain for Shane is what every team that's tanking. So like your Montreal Canadiens, your Arizona Coyotes, it's pain for Shane. Endure the pain of the season so we can get Shane Wright.
Yeah, I don't think we'll win a lottery.
Yeah. Alexander said, yeah, guys, the 2 penalties that were not even breakaways, Butch was saying penalty shot. Oh my God, Butch. I said, is this a penalty shot? Again, maybe I've been trained. Maybe Butchie has rubbed off on me in a negative fashion, but I thought that maybe the one to where Oliver Wahlstrom was skating down there, I'm like, okay, maybe you could see that. He was in alone on the goal. It was too close.
No, neither one was a penalty shot. The guy was on side with them and he interfered on him. It's a penalty, not a penalty shot. That's exactly what I said. Butch, come on, Butch. Come on.
I said the same thing. You know what? So I guess I cannot throw stones in the glass house. So I was wrong on that one too. Matthew S said, yeah, I liked what I saw in Salo and Aho. That's exactly right. They should be in the lineup. Salo should be playing every damn night. No Chara. No more Chara.
I thought the young defensemen, all of them, showed well tonight. Hutton, not as much. I thought he was chasing a little bit. He made a couple of plays that could have been penalties. Stopping, moving his feet, and reaching with the stick. But I thought Dobson, Salo, and Aho looked good tonight.
Alexander said, and also Char getting manhandled by 5'10" players ridiculous. I thought the same thing. I saw when that happened. I'm like, holy like that should be the moment. That should be like an aha moment. We're like, holy crap! So, Char just got knocked down by a guy of like Thomas Hickey's stature.
Well, but here's the thing, right?
He did get his ass knocked down once by Thomas Hickey back when he was younger.
Remember
that hit, Grumpy?
I think I very vaguely remember.
Thomas Hickey.
Why don't you go bring it up?
Chara knocked him on his ass. You remember that, Grumpy?
Why don't you look it up and I'll talk about what I have to. Then you can show it. Chara right now reminds me of Bambi when he was first born and learning how to walk in the movie Bambi, where he just kind of, not really good on his feet, getting tangled up and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, it's painful to see that. Like I said, an all-time great. His base isn't as good as wide as it used to be, with the spread on his legs. So he's kind of, he's like a giraffe out there. Tough to knock off, easy to knock off his feet.
God almighty, Grumpy. I love that. I love
Matter
that.
of fact, Chara's new nickname should be Bambi.
Bambi.
Bambi Chara.
Bambi.
See what you've done, Barry Trotz? You've made me turn Zdeno Chara, Hall of Famer, into Bambi. Great job.
And it's nobody else's fault but Trotz.
Now your failure is complete.
There we go. 2 minutes past 16 saying, I'd rather see Aho and Salo's mistake over Bambi Chara's mistakes.
Yeah, it's got to be Bambi, Jake. Sorry.
A different mind said, if Trotz isn't re-signed, which coach would you like to see with the honors? Oh man, that's so far off. I couldn't even imagine.
There's one guy I'd love, but I think that he's on the outs with the league right now. So, but I'd say Joel Quenneville.
You fill in the. I was about to say you fill in the blanks. I'm sure I know.
Joel Quenneville. He's the best coach in the league.
SP said, Grump, you're sounding like Tortorella criticizing McDavid like that.
Well, that's what Barry Trotz would do.
Yeah, he was playing the Barry Trotz role.
Yeah, not me. I'm like, hey, Connor, do whatever the hell you want. I mean, okay, you might give up a goal here and there, but you're going to score 5 a night. I'm going to take that trade-off.
Shea Stadium was like that in the upper deck. You felt like you were walking down a ladder.
My God. I don't
like that either way. I feel like I've got to grab onto the railing in order to make sure I'm not going to, like, if I put a misstep, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. When you feel like you need a rail to go up and down the stairs, or here's the thing, when they put a rail in to go up and down the stairs, it's steep.
Okay, they have rails everywhere now.
No, they don't have rails everywhere.
I think they do.
They do not have rails everywhere.
Name me one place that doesn't have rails when you're going up and down the stairs. They all have
places that don't have rails.
They all have rails, Grumpy. Come on.
They all have rails.
They do. So Josh Bailey destroying lines.
So you think they retrofitted every single stadium in Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NHL to put in railing?
Yes.
You're smoking crack.
Ariel C said Salo will definitely stay in the lineup when the whole roster is healthy. There's no way he doesn't. I'd like to think that too.
I don't believe in absolutes unless I use them.
2 minutes past mistaking saying Josh Bailey passing everything on, including COVID.
Let me tell you something. It was the best thing. COVID was the best move for our team getting Josh Bailey out of the lineup.
Ariel C said on EA Sports or EA Sports NHL 22 should have Chara's agility at 5. I
think that's being generous.
Baby Giraffe Chara.
I think Bambi's better. Baby Giraffe, but Bambi, everybody remembers Bambi when he was, just gangly as shit.
Him and Thumper. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then Kelly S saying here, I thought Panik had a very strong game. Panik had a very strong game. Keep Bailey or even Palmieri out for Panik. I think Panik should slide in for Matt Martin when healthy. Screw Matt Martin, buddy. I need to see more effort. Otherwise, you're going to be riding a pine.
Do you remember what we heard from people after Palmieri scored his first goal? Oh, here's the start of something big. Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, man.
I take the track. 3 goals in 31 games to the Islanders in the regular season. He's not even on pace for 10. I think I overestimate what Parisi's going to do, honestly.
You mean Palmieri?
Parise. I said 10. I don't think 10. Maybe 7.
Oh, man. Alice 40 says, maybe it's just the fate that Chara can't be good as an Islander.
I thought if he put the jersey on, he was going to reinvigorate his career, just like Parise.
That's what we were told. Hey, older players do well under Trotz. He's going to have a bounce back. We were told.
All they have to do is put on the uniform, and they're automatically going to be really, really good players.
All you got to do is watch. Alexander said, I sent you the hit. Oh, thank you. Alexander. He sent me the hit. Thank you.
Alexander's the man. I'm going to tell you what.
Frank K said that third goal Varlamov gave up was awful.
He gives up one of those every game. Every single game. He gives up one of those. If you're willing, like I said, he's a solid goalie. I'm not saying he's bad. He's number 2 here. It's not even 1A, 1B. He's number 2.
You know, the funny thing is, Grump, I need to save this video because I've shown this video before.
You have.
And I remember, like, I think it was John P. at the time period who had to pull it up for me. But I appreciate this, Alexander. Now, this hit right here, ladies and gentlemen, this will go down. This will go down in Thomas Hickey's career highlights. That is for certain, Grump. And
Well, maybe we have to see it.
well, it's showing an advertisement here first, so I'd rather not let everybody see it.
Yeah, we don't care about the advertisement.
Well, good. I'm glad. Is this? Oh, boys. I got bad news. I guess it's not pulling up for me.
Take it for TJ to mess that up. Well, why don't you let it play in the background? If it ever comes up, you can put it up.
Okay, fair enough, Grump. But yeah, I thought the goal that Varlamov gave up was definitely by far a weakie. I will. Okay, I got something else to mention. Grump, do you ever think, and maybe I'm crazy with this one, that I will load through on a page, but it won't actually load the video because it wants me to watch 2 ads? Do you ever think about that?
Well, maybe you can just watch the ads in the background and then pull it up when it starts.
Is that what I should do, Grump?
Give it a shot.
Oh, man, I'll try it, Grump. I'll try
That's
it.
fine. But you're right. The third goal was a terrible, terrible goal by Varlamov, honestly. Terrible.
Ariel C said, hot take, Salo's better than Dobson.
Not if you watch today's game, he's not. Dobson was really freaking good today.
I think as of right now, I think, yeah, maybe you could say Salo brings more right this second, but I think Dobson's pretty damn close, and he's got a lot more room to grow.
No way. Dobson was way better than Salo today. Way better. You didn't see Salo creating offense like Dobson did. And here's the way Dobson must have looked at it. All right, there's 2 other guys who I know are lower down in the pecking order than I am. I'm going to play my game today and let that piece of shit on the bench see what I can actually do out here. That's what I think he said.
That's what he said to Barry, right?
And he skated by Barry at the end. How do you like them? You like apples? How do you like them apples, Barry?
SB's name. I
got her number. What do you think of them apples? Boom.
What is that? That's
Will
Hunting. I got it. SP said here, I think Barry would sooner call Komarov over from the KHL than play Wallstrom on the top line.
I think you'd rather take Komarov's mom.
Yeah, Vinny L. I thought that Panik looked good. I thought he looked like he's a guy who should, again, if we see that type of play on a consistent basis, he should be playing on a night in, night out basis on the 4th line, or at least alternating with Matt Martin, especially if you're not going to play Ross Johnston anyway. Shit.
He gave you what Leo Komarov used to give Toronto a few years ago. That's what and if he's a 3rd or 4th line guy, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Grumpy, I don't know if we're going to get that link to poll. I apologize. I don't know if we're going to be able to get that link to poll. I'll tell you. Ariel C said, yeah, Palmieri scored after Florida had 5 goals and they were coasting. What a bust of a cap hit.
Not like I didn't call that one either.
What did you call him, Grump? The F-?
F-. Sometimes when he plays really well, he gets elevated to an F, but that's as high as he's ever gotten for me.
That's a good question there. Too much pessimistic, Jake. I don't know why Varlamov played tonight over Sorokin. Couldn't tell you.
Too many young guys in the roster who want to drop the team age below 35.
Yeah, and then Ariel C saying, yeah, no reason Sorokin shouldn't start every game in back-to-backs. He's young, he's hungry, and he's an elite goaltender. If you're not starting your goalie more than 50 games, if he's playing only 50 games a season, the other goalie's playing 32, your goalie's getting plenty of rest. Come on.
And here's the other thing. He's better than Varlamov. He's better than Varlamov.
This year, too, with the Olympics, do you think that Sorokin's going to be the starting goalie for Russia? Hell no. It's going to be Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky's having a hell of a season here for Florida.
Doesn't it have to be Vasilevsky?
Bobrovsky. I mean, Bobrovsky's putting up video game-ass numbers so far. I'm just saying Sorokin's not going to be the starting goaltender for Russia.
He might not even make the team.
He's going to get a 2-week break. Right. So you talk about, hey, we don't want to beat the hell out of the young goalie. That's what you're going to hear a lot. Right. When people are saying we need to start playing Sorokin more of these games. Oh, no, we can't beat Sorokin up. He needs to be healthy, ready to go for the playoffs. He's going to get a 2-week break during the season.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So sorry. No, I'm not buying that one. Frank K said, don't worry. Aho and Dobson will be traded. No, and Salo will be traded. Alice44 said, with Barry and Lou's love for veterans, I am surprised they didn't bring up Hickey.
I thought that was a possibility, but I'm glad they didn't, honestly.
Yeah, for certain, Grump. Matthew S. said, one thing's for sure. Salo and Aho need to play, like you said, Green and Dobson on a platoon. Blech.
That's what they should do with all the young guys. Work them into the lineup. Move the veterans out. That's what you should do. So this way, when they come up when they're 30 years old or 31 years old and they're coming up for a contract, you let them leave and yet slide the younger guys in there. It frees up salary cap space so you can go out and get at better players. That's not the way they've been doing it the last few years.
Alexander, I'm blown away that you were even able to find it, but no, I think it's an issue with my computer. Ariel C said, did you guys see a lot of the arena on the broadcast? We did. I did. And I saw a lot of it for people who were like on live stream on Facebook and on social media. I was able to see a whole bunch of the arena. It looks fantastic. It looks incredible. Yeah. It's such a loss, but that place was incredible. That for certain it was. And then Dimitri P said here, Green is much better than Chara. I agree.
I agree with that.
Yep. Absolutely beautiful for certain. And then SP said, tape a hockey stick to a robot vacuum and it would do more than Bambi. Holy crap.
True. I just can't go over the pirouette he did with Zuccarelli coming. And all Zuccarelli had to do was
Zuccarello. Why do you call him Zuccarelli?
Not Zuccarello, whatever his name was.
Zuccarello, yeah. Hey, Grumpy, man, we did. Hey, I want to thank you first off, Grump. You did a hell of a job. Thank you for coming and doing the live stream during the game. It seems like a lot of people liked it. And if that's the case, we'll do more of the live streams during the game. We'll just let people know beforehand when we're doing them. And if that's something that people want on a more consistent basis, again, it seemed like I had a lot of positive feedback on it. I like it. I mean, we watch all the games anyway. I don't think there's much of a difference me just putting on a camera and saying, hey, let's just talk about it while we're watching it. Hell, probably gets my wife happy that I'm not yelling and screaming. I've got a door closed now when I yell and scream at the game. So probably makes her more happy anyway. But Grump, thank you again. And again, this is for those of you who are new listeners, first time here to the podcast, this is a twice a week Islanders hockey podcast where we talk about the New York Islanders on Wednesday and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think we'll be rolling out where we're doing possibly more of a live stream during games at times. I know if Grumpy's up for it, I'll be up for it. And also make sure to check out our TJ and the Grumpy Old Man podcast. It's a podcast where we just talk sports and shoot the shit. We have a good time just talking anything and everything. That is on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find that in the link below. That being said, Grump, what else you have to say before we wrap things up today?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
And thanks again, Grumpy. Now, here, an update on the shirts and the merchandise. We've got everything. We're starting to roll it out. We've got the store set up. We all intentions by Wednesday's podcast, we should have that all set up. So we've got the store set up. We've got the drop shipper selected. We've got the merchandise started creating. Now we're just actually uploading it all into the store, getting prices, everything sorted and figured out. But we're in the home stretch on that one. I promise you, Grumpy can tell. He's seen it. He could vouch for me. We're close on it. But thank you again, everybody tuned in and listened to us today here. Thanks, Islanders community. Even when times are tough and rough, bad times like this, we're always here for each other. And I want to thank you, Grumpy Old Man. Thank you, everybody who listened. Hey, let's go Islanders. Beat the hell of those Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow night. Let's go Islanders. Thank you again, Grumpy.